Hello, everyone. Loremaster of Sotek here with my co-host, as always, Nathan, also known as Great Book of Grudges. And it is that time of the week again. It's Lorebeards. And not only is it Lorebeards, but it's Lorebeards at the regular time on a regular day, which is wonderful and lovely. It's almost like we're it's almost like we're doing this as a thing or something. So welcome everyone to the podcast. We hope you had a wonderful week. A lot of stuff happened over the last week, which we'll be getting to a lot of it as we go through the show. We have a pretty packed schedule, so we're not really going to waste too much time. But Nathan, how are you doing? How's your day been?
Good. It would be a lot better if my cat would stop trying to bite my cables. But yeah, good. Nice little Sunday. A nice little chill day where I'm just relaxing for the first time in... God, it's been a hectic week.
Has it?
But yeah, good. How are you?
I'm good, and realizing that this is actually better without my green screen behind me, apparently. I'm good. I really enjoyed kind of the last little bits and pieces of all the reveals for last week for Immortal Empires. It was a pretty fun ride for all the start positions, everything. But outside of that, week was all right. Like, can't complain too much. Celebrated my brother's birthday, and he had us go out to a very bougie restaurant, at least by my standards. But it was nice. I was expecting it to be much more stuck up than it ended up being, so that was a pleasant surprise. It wasn't too bad, but I was like, why do I gotta wear like nice clothes in summer? Because that means I've got to wear like long pants and it's hot and just whatever. But and it is hot everywhere, it seems like. I'm just reading news about heat waves in like almost every dang part of the northern hemisphere. It is rough right now for a lot of people.
It is very brutal. At the time that we're doing this, I can tell you it is 34 degrees Celsius in my room. I'm dying. That's like 90 something for you guys.
In your room?
In my room.
Jesus Christ, dude. what are y'all even doing? Oh, man. It's like... I think it's maybe like 70 something in my room, like Fahrenheit. So like very, very pleasant.
Well, we got, unfortunately, because where Gibraltar is located, we're quite close to Africa. So we get the African summers hitting us. And it is very hot next to the fact that like the whole country, well, city is surrounded by water. So it's very humid.
Yeah, that, sounds kind of nightmarish. Hopefully everyone out there, wherever you live, if you're somewhere where it's getting hot, do your best to take care of yourselves. Lots of water, drink lots of water, and piece of advice that I know I learned back when I lived without air conditioning out in West Texas for college is that if it's really, really hot, make sure to get some like cold water, and you can like put a like a sheet in it and then like wrench it out and then just kind of have it on you at night. Like, so it's lightly wet with really cold water. Blow a fan on it. That'll keep you cool if it's too hot at night and might let you sleep. Also, I always found that you could take like a pillowcase or a pillow and like put it inside something like made of plastic and stuff it in a freezer. And then when you go to bed, you take it out so you have a cold pillow. Stuff like that. It'll keep you alive. So,
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, granted, that's only like I'm not like that's not the kind of stuff you're like, oh, it's like it's a little warm. That's like, oh my sweet God, it's so hot I can't sleep. Obviously, if you have AC, you should be fine, but I think a lot of people in Europe in particular do not. So
it's not common down here, no.
Yeah. Which to a Texan is just pure madness, but you know, the world used to be different. Anyway, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first part of today's show, which is, of course, Lorebeards. Lorebeards. This is Lorebeards. Tale of Two Gamers. There we go. Can you tell I didn't sleep much last night?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to do what we always do. You type in hashtag Lorebeards, and then you are able to see everyone that submitted minis. I posted the ones that I saw on my Discord, and we're just going to go through everyone's post today. So without further ado, let's get into it. Our first entry, I'm just going to refresh real quick in case they're okay. Our first entry is from Headcanon, who's doing his Legion of the First Prince.
Very nice.
Demons. It's such a beautiful mix of demons. He's got some Khorne, he's got Be'lakor, he's got Slaanesh. So what we got: Fiends of Slaanesh, Blood Crushers of Khorne. We've got Kairos Fate Weaver. We've got a Bloodthirster, Pink Horrors, Bloodletters, Plague Bearers, Blue Horrors, and we even have the new Brimstone Horrors. Just beautiful. I love it.
Very nice army, honestly.
Yeah, and hopefully something a thing I hope we're able to do with Be'lakor in the coming Immortal Empires. We'll have to wait and see on that one. And then he's got a work in progress Great Unclean one as well. Very, very nice. Looks good, dude. I actually really like you did a really good job on the paint job. Everything looks very nice. Like,
yeah, that is really, really cool.
I could tell what everything is just from a glance based on the colors alone, but like the Fiends in particular look really nice. Great job.
I'm a big fan of horrors, so like I'm loving seeing this. The pink horrors look really, really nice too. Very vibrant.
Next up, from Anila on my Discord, I believe this is the new Parasite Tyrannid character, if I remember correctly. The Parasite of, what is he called? Of Mars.
Oh, is this the one this came out in the new box, right?
Yeah. That's what I think this guy is, because he's got the little. I'm pretty sure that's who this is. It looks like he's a work in progress, but it's looking really good so far. I really like
cool.
the coloration of the going white and pink. Me and Nathan have talked about this many times on the podcast, but anyone who decides to use white as one of their main colors like gets a solid tip of the hat, because it's such a pain in the ass color to work with.
Yeah.
White is one of the least friendly colors when painting a mini.
So is the whole Hive Fleet going to be this color scheme? Because that's going to be impressive, considering, I mean, Nids are a horde.
Yeah, I don't know if she's in chat, but I don't think to my memory, I don't think I've seen any other new Nid models from her yet. But this one's a really good start. I think I believe this is a special character, if memory serves. It's not a generic character, but it's like an actual big bad.
If it's from the new box that I was thinking of, then it's one of the. It's kind of like a hero choice.
Yeah, I really like the wings and the carapace. Like, look at that that like emblem that looks like it's almost carved into its shoulder. She did a really cool. Good job with the highlights. Those are very nice highlights. Very cool. Yep, and the pink, the ovipositors, or those little tentacle things that he stabs people with and puts little rippers in them. Those turned out very nice. I like those pink tips. They look like I would not want to be touched by them. So great job. Next up from Hyos06, we've got two minis. We've got a Chaos Sorcerer, very nice classic mini on square base. And we've also got, he kit bashed a Chaos Lord to make it a battle standard bearer. Nice. And it just looks great. I love battle standard bearers. I love battle standard bearers.
They're just so useful.
They are. Well, and they just look cool too. Like, there's something so awesome about seeing a big fantasy army, and there's some guy out there who's dedicating like one or both of his hands to holding some giant ass banner. But they both look fantastic. Like, I think this, if I remember right, I think this guy is relatively new, like one of the newer Age of Sigmar Chaos characters. I don't think he's one of the old fantasy ones. No,
he was in fantasy.
Oh, he was? Okay. Yeah, it looks great. Very nice paint job. Golden black, you can never go wrong with. Very tasteful use of the blood. Basing's good. It's very nice. And a nice classic undivided star banner. Love it. All right, next up from Ray, we've got some work in progress Bloodstalkers. I hate Bloodstalkers. I, let me emphasize this as much as I possibly can. I hate Bloodstalkers so much. They have made so many games so hard for me. So these ladies, Nathan, for reference, these ladies, they have 2 shots each, 36-inch range. They hit on 3s, wound on 3s at -1 armor piercing, essentially. But the problem is when they roll a hit, anytime they roll a 6, they will deal a mortal wound. So they don't have to roll to wound or hit, and you don't get a save against it. Unless you have a ward save. And because of Morathy, they can shoot twice per turn. It is so brutal to go up against.
Very cool models too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ranges I really, really love in AOS, but the expanded Medusa range for the Daughters of Cain is definitely one of my favorites.
Looks like Ray's quite busy because I can see some bolt action minis in the back too.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot. Oh yeah, there's nice big tank back there too. Yeah. But yeah, I look forward to seeing how those progress, Ray. And then we've got someone from your Discord, a Mr. Ling. Wow, that is a clean ass paint job. Ooh, that orc. That orc.
It's a big dude. It's a big dude. Everything that he's posted on my Discord before has always been quite top tier. Like,
yeah,
it's just really, really good. I love the look of stuff, and even like you can see it with the work in progress. Like, there is so much attention to detail. Like, I would not spend all that time on an ultramarine.
No, I could not paint like this. Like, oh man, when you can look at the face on a mini and you can see every single detail that like possible, very intricately carved out, it's like, oh wow, that's a really, really good paint job. Like, just looking at the orcs' faces, damn, those are really good paint jobs.
I fucking love orcs too, man. I mean, it's the best. I know a lot of people don't like them too much, but I think that's like the best army in 40k because they just look so fun.
They do look amazingly fun. Do people who paint this good ever actually play? Yeah, a lot of them do.
Yeah. It's a lot of people actually just like to paint, but you do get a lot of people who paint really well and go to tournaments and stuff. That's when they win extra style points and all that, you know?
Yeah, I can think of at least one person in my local tourney AOS scene who is like god tier when it comes to painting. He posts his stuff on Twitter all the time. Like, he's like literally one of the best in the world that I've ever seen. And he's also an extremely good player. Like, there's more overlap, I think, of those than there used to be.
Yeah.
Speaking of orcs, from Ian Russell, we've got some more wah. He says he's doing orcs while he's waiting for Druki to come out for the old world. But man, those are some kick-ass looking orcs.
It's a great fucking paint scheme. The red and gold is just so nice. Well, red and yellow, that's really, really good.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how he did it exactly, but like like the models look really dirty in a good way. Like, there's like intentional dirt on them.
This is definitely contrast paints, right? Like, it looks like it's a lot of contrast, but it's really good. Like, I'm a big fan of the contrast series.
There's some kind of effect he's added onto it, because contrast does not look this like it almost kind of has like a comic book quality. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's something that's really popping about it, because, and I'm not sure exactly how he did it. But man, these look incredible.
It's a nice big unit here.
Yep. Yeah, that's I don't know if these are regular shooters or if they're like big mobs, but they look great.
No, they're not knobs. I think they're just shooters, right?
I don't know. You're the 40K guy in this relationship.
It's been a while since I've managed to play 40K. Funny enough, I managed to play a game last week, but I was using Deathcore and my buddy was using Tau. That was a shit show.
Gotcha. Moving on. Yeah, great job, Ian. Plant-based Human says this is their first fully finished model, and it is a Stormcast. And if that's your first model, you have a that's your first model and you went that hard on the basing. That's not how that's supposed to work. That's a really good base job. And the paint job's nice too. Like for a first time paint job, that is very, very solid.
I like it. I take the Stormies a lot more seriously when it isn't just all pure gold, and this looks good.
Oh yeah, these Hammers of Sigmar I think is genuinely one of the worst paint schemes. Next to like the Lions, like or I think it's the Celestial Vindicators also have, I think, a really bad color scheme because those are like teal. But yeah, the gold, you can never go wrong with gold, black, and red. You just can't.
Yeah.
I will say, my biggest advice, since this is your first mini, if you're looking for advice, if not, feel free to ignore this because you did a really, really clean paint job. Like, I don't see any paint like that you've painted that's ended up in the wrong area really at all. Like maybe on the mace, just a tiny bit, but like you did a really clean job. The only thing I would say is probably work a little more on thinning your paints and going more for like thin layers. And then it looks like you used some like Nuln oil or something on the metallics, which is good. But you'll be able to get into dry brushing or edge highlighting. I would look up those techniques and they will take you to the next level because you're ready. Like you're ready for the next level. This is very, very nice.
On metallics, I'm quite partial to on gold metallics, Agrak Surfshade. And on silvers, I'll use a little bit of really thin down Druchii Violet.
Oh, that's okay. That's a clever idea.
Give it a little sheen, type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I find Nuln oil tends to be better for like brass, though sometimes I'll use Agrex Earthshade for that as well. But like it's like really good for like non-silvery metallic, I guess. So like iron kind of stuff. Nuln oil will really do you for it. It could be a little overly dark if you're going for something silver. But yeah, this is great, dude. For a first job, like for like people who just paint casually, this would be very, very good. For someone's first mini, that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Neratio has got some squig hoppers, and he's got rainbow squigs. I love rainbow squigs. It's such a commonly fun thing to do, is just to have like just this motley like Power Rangers assortment of squigs.
I'm a big fan of squigs. I do like the new miniatures, but I kind of miss the old clunky metal ones.
Yeah, the I would love for the classic cave squigs to just kind of be like the good old dense little balls. But I will say I love squig hoppers. I love squig hoppers so much. Like they're so fun and they're such a stupid unit that like it can be effective, but they're mostly just stupid.
Yeah.
which is great. Poor Gloomspite gets, dude. They need their new books so bad. They're like they're actually not awful right now because of how the AOS has changed, but they are like one of the most outdated factions, and it's really painful for them. But the paint job on this looks incredible. Like the eyes look fantastic, and like you did a really good job. Like look at that eye on the far right one. Anyone that gets a pupil right in the center of an eyeball, like he didn't even go for the typical like cat eye slash to make it easier. It's a perfect dot. And that just looks good. They look fantastic, dude. They look fantastic. Those are some sexy squigs right there. man, like the gums going into the teeth, and these are definitely contrast paint.
Yeah, yeah, you can see it on the roundabout where the cheeks are.
Yeah. But yeah, they look great. And like the inside of the teeth on the green one, yeah, this turned out really, really well, dude. Very nice. Good job, Horatio. All right, Hios, man, Hios or Hios. I think I say his name different every time I do. When he shows up to like every stream, and I play in a Warhammer Fantasy roleplay group with him, and yet I still can't consistently decide what I want to call him. But anyway, he also sent in some ogre iron guts. And
no, Chaos Ogres, Kit Bash.
oh, they're Chaos Ogres. Oh, I love them even more now. Oh, those are perfect for Chaos Ogres.
Yeah, I mean, you remember the old Chaos Ogre box, right?
Yeah, it's yeah. Yeah,
you needed to buy 2 boxes, didn't you? Because you had to buy the commands separately.
Yeah, they're one of the old school 6th edition boxes. And the old school 6th ed was yeah, your command came separate. But actually I think that was bigger in 5th edition than 6th, but it was definitely a thing. Yeah, these look great. I really, Hyos is very, very good at using Blood for the Blood God.
It fits so well.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna see Chaos Ogres in the newest update, but I do hope we get them at some point for Warriors of Chaos. That would be super fun. And Ogre Kingdoms, like put them in both.
People get Chaos Ogres when they eventually do a Ogre DLC, because we're still missing, the really important stuff from the Ogres.
True, and that would give them that kind of third unit that they're missing, because it's like right now we're missing 2 units, a hero, and some Slaughtermaster variants. So if they did Chaos Ogres, that would give them that third unit. They like going 3 and 3 for Lord packs.
Yeah.
But yeah, these look great. Excellent job. All right. Oh, someone did a podcast. Shout out to Lorebeards for being such an inspiration. Oh, well, that was sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, that's Battlesea and Super Sango. He messaged me a while back. Battlesea is the guy who did that whole campaign as Norska without any losses.
Oh my God, I heard about that. That poor bastard. Yeah. So they've let him out of the hospital, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I honestly thought that was really impressive. I saw the video. I was like, oh, that's fucking insane. No, because like anytime he'd have a loss, he would restart the campaign from scratch.
God, please, no.
Yeah.
Just hearing it sounds... and then our last little thing is actually a question submitted from Geeks with Shields. Great guys. Cool podcast. Check them out if you haven't already. They say, they asked us, Lustria feels pretty sparse for Immortal Empires. Could they be planning future DLC? I would say that's probably a very safe bet.
Yeah. We will be talking about the map in a bit.
Yeah. The map is on today's agenda, but yes, we were talking about that. Oh, and we got one last entry. If you refresh the page, Jay Phoenix sent in some Lannister halberdiers. Ooh, those are really nice.
Oh, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, I really like that tray. Oh, wow. And he's got like, I guess that's his whole army, or at least like a good sized squad. Man, those are good minis. Like they've got a good range.
Dude, look at the horsemen.
Yeah, the knights look incredible.
Who are the characters? Like, is that
I believe it's Jaime Lannister, I think. And
I don't know. It kind of looks like Brienne of Tarth.
Could be. I know the dude on the right is Littlefinger, because we showed him off last time.
Yeah, we showed Littlefinger. That could be Brienne of Tarth. I'm not 100%. Is Jay Phoenix in any of our chats? Because that's a really cool mini.
Yeah, I see him in my chat. Phoenix, who's the Golden Knight? Good old Twitch delay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lannisters look fucking cool.
Okay, yes, it is Jaime Lannister.
Oh, right. I thought it was Ben.
And he says the cavalry unit is House Bolton's Flayed Men.
fucking cool.
Yeah, those are those are some serious dynamic pose cavalry.
Yeah, that does really, really nice. It's just so well, Bolton, yeah, they had to look grim, right? Like that house is known to be fucking psychopaths.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's fucking cool. Ah man, great miniatures. I'm really tempted. I shit you not, I'm so tempted to jump onto this game.
it's a good looking range, man. It's a good looking
Yeah,
range. Can't deny that.
so cool.
All right, so we are now finished up with Tale of Two Gamers. Huzzah! So now we're going to talk about some tabletop news. So this is going to be fairly. I guess as we're wrapping up Tale of Two Gamers, what should people aim for next week if they have a huge pile of stuff and they need to? No, it's my. I have an idea. Let's do. If you have a large selection, my recommendation is going to be do a named character. So like a special character. And if you don't have one of those, then pick whatever you want. But there you go.
Next week I should also be showing quite a lot myself, because sometime during this coming week, depending on my schedule, I should be doing that whole 2,000 points in 24 hours challenge.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh sweet Jesus.
50 plague bearers, 2 squads of 25 full command, 2 heralds of Nurgle, 1 kit bash to be a banner bearer, a beast of Nurgle. Unfortunately, I forgot that you could take multiple in a unit, so I only got the 1. A unit of rotflies, and a full command unit of rotflies, sorry, and 5 units of Nurglings.
Wow, that sounds absolutely agonizing, but like
oh no,
in
yeah,
a good way.
I'm prepared to cry. But the idea is, I have way too much, man. I need to finish the backlog.
Yeah, no, I know how you feel. People in my chat will be pleased to hear this. I have cleaned off my painting desk. I was gonna do a painting stream, I believe 3 days ago, and I sat down and I got my camera working and I looked at my desk and I was like, this is just gross. Like, I have not used it in so long that it just hasn't been dusted, and it was just like dog fur and dust, and I was just like, I can't in good conscience show this to the public. So that has been addressed. So we will be doing painting streams in the future. I'm hoping I will have a mini to show off for next week. I did a lot of really good work into a Kurdos Valentian model before I went to a tournament. It's not done, but like there's a lot, like all of the base colors are done, so I'm hoping I can finish him. That would be really nice. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into some release goodies. I'll post a link in our chat if you need that, Nathan. But first, we're going to take a look at the reveals from the preview, which happened. Actually, no, we talked about that. We talked about that already, because we literally did a show immediately after that. So let's just skip to the fun part. There's a goddamn Snakeman. There's a goddamn Snakeman in Bloodbowl. So we have Boa Constrictor, which is as stupid of a name as you would expect. It's a perfect Bloodbowl character. Literally a perfect Bloodbowl character. But we got a Snick, and I'm so pleased. Like, I know, I assume you were extremely excited based on the just absolutely the emotions I sensed from the messages you sent me.
Wake the fuck up,
yeah,
right?
we're very intense.
I am very happy. I am very, very happy.
So let's just get into what everyone wants us to ask, Nathan, which is, so what do you think that this is this just a fun Lustrian Snakeman for the Amazons, or do you think this is like the biggest blue ball wink hint they could have done for Koresh?
This is, in my interpretation and through some digging, is a Kureshi. So we've seen it here where they say this Sashayan Serpent is the first Snakeman in Blood Bowl from a race we haven't seen on or off the pitch in quite some time. So that is a really good push, because if you recall all the other Snakemen teams, which I believe the last one we had was 2016, they were all from Koresh. They actually even had the Koreshi name on them too. Which it does make sense. We do have star players sometimes appearing in other teams. It's quite a common thing, and like we all know, especially recently with the lore update to a Koreshi thing. Well, something that now became Koreshi too. This seems like it's going to be the way that they're going to test out what people think about the look of the Koreshi now.
Hmm.
Which yeah, I'm just stunned.
I love him. I love him so much. I'm really glad they went. There's a particular name for it. I can't remember what it's called, but on snakes there's like two styles of scales. There's flat, like really flat, smooth scales, and then there's kind of these like raised scales that kind of like spike out a little bit. And they went with the spiked out look, and I think it's so much more badass. And just looks so much more interesting, especially on a mini. And I will say that if this is like close to what we're gonna get for the Naga, I'm thrilled. I really do hope that the Naga kind of dial it up to 11 with like chaos mutations or just really horrific type stuff. You know, kind of like, you know, we have a Dreadmaw. We know the Dreadmaw is now supposedly, but pretty much confirmed, a Koresh creation. And I am very eager to see how that is, how they themselves might look in regards to that.
This is actually a really good point that I've just had in chat here from Samoras. A lot of people got confused with when this guy came out. I did have a few people saying, no, this is a Lustrian. It's a race from Lustria.
That's what I thought at first.
Yeah. No, I mean, excitement can actually do that, can't it? But the perfect example here is the Yeti that belongs to the Norskin team, where, as we know, Yetis are actually just mutated ogres, and they form part of the ogre roster in Total War, or well, Warhammer Fantasy in general, but will in Blood Bowl, like, the rules don't really matter in Blood Bowl. I mean, everyone who should be killing each other is just playing a friendly game of football, you know? In a sense.
Well, and yeah, like, and it's important for everyone to remember that Blood Bowl is weird. Like, it's intentionally weird, and it's very goofy and doesn't take itself seriously. So there are often like bizarre teams or like bizarre characters, like where it's like, okay, in Warhammer Fantasy, our equivalent to werewolves are a chaos thing, but in Blood Bowl, because it's based on like much older stuff, they're undead. Like they're part of the undead team. Or like so you'll just like see weird things, or in, like Nathan was saying, you have Yetis with Norska instead of with the ogre team. You've got and like there's other goofy things like treemen are with halflings for some reason, and like, even though in Warhammer those two could not be like further apart.
You could get a treeman back in the day of the original roster for the halflings. I think that was 5th, but that was back in the day where you had the literal fellowship. Like, there was discount Aragorn, Gimli, Gandalf, and Legolas.
Yeah, and that's like what Blood Bowl tends to draw a lot of its inspiration from. Is
Blood Bowl lore is still in the 90s.
Just good old oldie stuff, and I mean that's what gives a lot of its charm, is that it's Warhammer Fantasy at its hackiest, which was kind of a golden age if you enjoy that sort of thing. So I'm glad they've kept it alive in Blood Bowl.
I personally am a big fan. I'm like, we've also got here, it's like, oh, armor looks very Lustrian, and but this is like any professional sport. When you change teams, you change your gear. It's like Ronaldo going to, say, for example, Barcelona. He wears the Barcelona kit.
Yeah, and it's because he's part of the Lustrian Super League. is kind of the lore behind this character. But you could very easily see a character show up who looks like weird or is in a very different place, because they could say, oh yeah, boa constrictor, he's a snake man, but he hangs out in Lustria for whatever reason. Like, he just decided he likes the Amazons. Like, the lore is very finicky and doesn't get too deep, and then they could like see how he does, and if it gets really interesting, they could be like, oh look, now there's a team of Snakemen, and these are the actual Naga, and they've kind of got their own crazy thing going on.
So, question to you. So, say that this type of model gets translated to Old World. What weapons would you like to see with them?
So I am not a smart enough man to know what are really popular weapons, or like really not popular, I should say famous historical and fantasy / historical or fictional historical weapons from like southeastern mythology and history. But those weapons, I would want them to have weapons that look like, oh, I've never seen that, what is that? And then I gotta Google it, and there's like a really cool history to it, obviously. But like when I see like snake creatures, a lot of the time I imagine that they're really, really solid with some sort of like sickle or bladed, like curved bladed weapon, because it kind of gives you that sinuous feel. So yeah, yeah, I see chat. See, like, chat's already arguing with itself. Someone was like, what about this weapon? And someone goes, wait, I think that would be an end weapon. And now it's just like arguing. It's like, see, this is why I don't, yeah. Someone call up Ryu. He would know.
I'd love to see them with like a massive glaive, because I just think that would be fucking cool. Like, kind of like a royal Kureshi guard type of thing, you know?
Oh yeah, and there, there's got to be some kind of Uber halberd unit. Like, I don't know what exactly the halberd would look like. It could be a glaive. It could be like a traditional, like something more traditional halberd. It could be something totally whack. Like one of the things that excites me the most, so much about Ind and Koresh as possible future factions, is that because they're based on nations in the distant east, and just they're not Western nations, they have so many creatures and weapons and like ideas that are completely foreign to those of us in the West. Where you would see a weapon and like we would just be like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, which is how I feel sometimes playing like Elden Ring, or seeing like games from Japanese developers, is they'll use weapons that'll make me go like, what is that? And then you learn that there's this really cool history behind it and all this other stuff. So I that's what I'm really hoping Ind and Koresh lean very heavily on, is like, expose us to new culture, man. Expose us to things that we would never see otherwise.
I've got a friend of mine. His name is Kavish. We used to play in bands together. His family is originally, I can't remember what part, but it was like northern India, and he knows the history really well. And I was having a drink with him a few weeks ago. I was asking him, it's like, look, if this ever got like translated, how would it be? And he was telling me all these amazing things about like the mythology of India and stuff like that. I was like, God damn, I hope we see this in Total War.
Yeah,
it's just so cool. Like, it's a, like, back in their, like, say medieval type of times going forward. I mean, they still have it too. It's just a gigantic pantheon, and like I have this idea in my head. Like, wouldn't it be cool if we had like living gods as legendary lords?
Well, yeah. I mean, if anybody could do it, it would be End, being the land of 1,000 gods.
Yeah,
and everything. They got gods to spare. Some of them can fight.
It'd just be really fucking cool, man.
Yeah, but I mean, that's always been the strength of Warhammer Fantasy, is taking real world history, slapping it together with mythology, and then just throwing in, just scaling everything to a ridiculous level. And somehow making a faction out of it.
I remember talking to a few former GW workers, people who worked on lore and stuff, and they said it's like their main basis was because originally they wanted to really push the historical boundary, because they did have Warhammer History, Warhammer Historical, which didn't last more than 2 years, 3 years, was it?
It wasn't. I remember that existing, but yeah, it was very brief.
Yeah, and it's like that kind of just paved more way into Warhammer Fantasy, and I think that's what makes the world so familiar to us, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, and I think that's what allows so many people to connect with fantasy. Almost like even if someone's not a traditional fantasy fan, like they're either based on their own culture or just like a culture they like, or like a mythology they like. Because like
Yeah.
the easiest way I've always introduced someone into Warhammer Fantasy is I'll say either like, what's your favorite like historical empire, or what's your favorite monster? Like, what's your favorite mythological creature? And they'll say, "Oh, I like this." I'm like, "We got that." And you introduce them to that thing, and like 10 out of 10 times, people fall in love with it.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good way. It's a really good way.
Yeah, and like I'm just really interested to see what they're gonna do with all that. But in any event, I think that's enough on everybody's favorite Snakeman. I'm really curious to see what they're gonna do with that. Some other reveals from tabletop stuff is we did get some really cool scenery for Warcry, which is really exciting. I'm going to pull it up on screen just for a second because I do want to point out that there's one piece I'm very, very excited about and might actually force me to get this set because it's a very, very nice, fun terrain set. But one of the pieces of terrain is literally that a Seraphon void ship, so one of their flying space pyramids crash landed and like has shattered into the terrain, and is like slowly being overtaken by like plants and stuff. But it's like, dude, that's something I never would have gotten in fantasy. Like ruined lizardman remains as part of a non-lizardman release. Like, I love it.
It's a box I'm definitely getting because like I said when we were watching the reveals, it's perfect Mordheim terrain. It's just it's so freaking good. Like I saw it, I was like, because I've got 2 boxes of the undead box. Remember the monolith, the graves, and all that type of stuff. Oh god, it's such an old box. It's been out of rotation for a while, hasn't it?
Fantasy?
Yeah,
The Moore's Graveyard set?
that one.
Yeah. Okay.
So what I want to do is I want to put those trees on like the sides going into the actual town. Like it just feels so good. Like god damn, the people like making the cast lately, the designers are really doing a great fucking job.
Yeah, they miss very rarely. At least in my opinion. Obviously we can't speak for everyone, but at least for the 2 of us, it's been nothing but like I've heard the Horus Heresy people are very happy overall. And 40K seems to be going pretty well. Like we're slowly approaching the squats. And they are all kinds of all over the place. So speaking of 40K, there's a new big release this week, which is Kabanda, my most hated character, even though I do think he probably is one of the best Bloodthirster designs because he has a full tail, and I just love tails.
Yeah.
But he looks good. He's a big boy. Oh yeah, we were supposed to talk about this. How much is this mini?
So, for the low price of £215.
Holy shit!
Yeah. I'm not keen because if like he is big and he's a name character, and I understand that the pricing goes under the name, right? So if it's a character that's quite unique, they'll make it more expensive. But like, if I go on Forge World right now.
Like, I understand that, like, the price of the value of the pound is, like, crashing and burning right now, which is, good for Americans if you want to buy this many, because it won't be nearly as expensive, but,
it's $365 for you guys.
Yeah, that's still, oh, wow, they're using, like, old conversion rates. That is insane for a single mini.
If we look at the big boys, right? Like say for example, like the big great unclean one that they have there, it's £144. So I and like even the Dread Saurian, which I doubt even gets used much in Age of Sigmar, is 170, right?
Well, yeah, which that's ridiculous because the Dread Saurian's going to dwarf that thing.
Yeah,
Like, I don't understand how they're determining the price. Like, are they just basing it off like hype value? like,
his rules are out, and I have been told that he's quite tasty. He's free download rules, but
it's like that
it's
shouldn't face like the price should just be like how much plastic or resin does it take to make this kit? How expensive was the mold? You know, divided into whatever, and with a little bit of a value on top. Like that is for any mini, that is an insane amount of money. Unless it's like
a shame.
Unless it's like the size of a toddler, which is like a titan. But
well, he's not even that big because you can see him on the post there.
Yeah, he's 25 centimeters.
Yeah, like he's even not that big when you put him next to Sanguinius from that promo image. It's like, thing is, I want this mini. I do, because I'm a big fan of Commander. I like Commander. I can't justify that price. I'm sorry, I can't. I literally can't. How am I going to look at that and go, yeah, I can justify this much money?
Yeah, no, that should be like 35% cheaper at minimum.
Yeah, because that price is like, that's me having a really good Friday night, man. Like,
yeah, that is an aggressively intense price for what you're getting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying there can't exist things that are that expensive, but like that is just okay, whatever.
The issue is that if he is so strong in the rules, he'll just get banned from tournaments, and he'll only be able to be used in narrative play anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, worst case scenario, I guess you could use him as a generic bloodthirster. I don't know if he's too big for that though.
It's thing is, like, I want him because I've been planning on doing a thing with the local guys here. We want to do an end times campaign, and I was gonna I was like, oh, you know, we could get.
Maybe y'all should start like a narrative pool to buy characters that are just too expensive for one person.
Well, it's a shame because obviously he wouldn't have any rules, and we'd have to like obviously make up some rules for fantasy. And even then, like, let's be honest, we know how shit the fucking anything on a monster size base was just crap for fantasy. But it's like, how can I justify? Like, he looks amazing, but I can't justify that. I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah, that's a hard sell, man. Like it's a great looking mini. I'll say that, but that is a hard sell.
Very.
I think for even like that's too much money, dude.
Yeah,
it's too much money.
Way too much. Way too much.
Looks cool, but yeah, gonna have to. It's gonna be a pass.
Thing is, they never go on sale. If anything, the prices have increased. Have you ever seen? This is the weird thing, right? Like I'm on Forge World right now. I am seeing minis costing something 0.50. I have never seen that in my life before, unless they were blister packs. Like the Colossal Squig is 73.50.
I don't know. They're just nickel and diming people as best they can.
Weird, honestly, it's super weird.
Everything's just getting more expensive. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a fan. Well, I'll just leave it at that. I do hope that I don't know, like it's weird to think that like things just kind of consistently get more expensive, and it's like I don't know where there's presumably there's a breaking point where they have to go back down a bit, but I don't know where that is, especially with the world the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, and obviously we're not going to turn this into a financial stream, but there is a worldwide recession going on, and Warhammer is what would be considered a luxury, but like it is a little bit like they're a multi-billion-pound company, man. Like, cut it down a little bit, you know?
Yeah, but you know, they're like, we're here to make a profit. That's all.
Yeah,
that's it. It's just like, ooh. So yeah. Anyway, that's that.
No. We have one more. We have one more. The squats. For Necromunda.
Oh right. I forgot because I keep forgetting squats are a thing now. My brain just sort of defaults them out.
We've got the Big Daddy and we've got the Marine from StarCraft.
Where the hell is the?
It's
wait, is it the kill team announcement?
No, it's the article's called Can the Vartijan Exo Driller match?
Oh, I see. I see. I got it. There we go. That's a big boy.
They look cool. I mean, it is basically just taking from the Big Daddy and the StarCraft thing, but they look fucking cool. I can't wait to see the full line of squats. Obviously, this is just Necromunda, but seeing squats come back. I have a friend who's very heavy into the hobby. He's in his 50s, so he was there since the beginning, and he was just wow, I can't believe this is back.
Yeah, I actually really like the Exo Driller. That's a very fun looking mecha for a dwarf.
Yeah, it's fucking
squat.
Cool.
And I do find it very funny that there are still actual squats, because it's okay, the squats are the disconnected dudes in Necromunda, and then everyone else are proper Votan, which I just find really funny.
Yeah. They have to play with people's nostalgia, don't they? And I for one, I'm all for it. If they want to keep doing this, someone just said here, trains for squats. Yeah, we need a land train back, because that would just be fucking awesome.
Oh, there's gonna be some kind of land train. That's too easy of money. They're not gonna miss that ship. Are any KO models reasonable for being squats? Oh, I'm sure you could do some subbing between those two.
Yeah, for sure.
I would not be shocked at all to see if there's going to be AOS people getting squats to make much tankier looking Caradron, and if Leagues of Votan are going to be taking Caradron to make themselves some spaceships, or give themselves flying troops or some other crazy shit. 40k and AOS steal from each other all the time. It's very common.
Yeah. You'll notice it a lot with the new Obliterators for Chaos, for the Chaos Space Marines. It's literally the same framework and the same skeleton as the Storm Fiends.
That's clever. I've never thought of that. That would work very well.
I only noticed it because I play Chaos Space Marines, and I picked up the box, and I've got 30 Storm Fiends built and painted. So I was looking, it was this body shape is fucking familiar. I looked at it, fuck! It's the same miniature.
Hey man, we always knew, everybody knew, the second we all saw them, we were like, those are Skaven Terminators. They're just Skaven Terminators. But, all right. Okay, it's time to get into a subject that I think everyone's super eager for us to talk about. It's map time.
Boys. Oh.
What? No, we can't. TOS. There are rules we have to follow on Twitch. There are things we can't discuss.
Right.
So,
moving on.
Yeah, real quick before we get into this, we do want to thank Xenon from Reddit. Well, not from Reddit, but he's posted these on Reddit. But we do want to thank Xenon for his amazing map work. His map, no offense, CA, is just way better than CA's, because he shrunk down all of the character portraits so that you can actually realistically tell how far apart they are. And he also toned down a lot of the colors of the world to make it less painful to look at. And it's a beautiful map. And he's got all the sea lanes on there, and everything just looks much better.
Yeah. For those of you who played a lot of modded Warhammer 2, Xenon is part of the SFO team, and also made that awesome Stormfiend mod. Well, part of the stuff there, because then he worked a bit with Chaos Robbie, I believe.
All right, so of course, accepting the DLC, which we will talk about in a future show, but not today. Even though we absolutely could, for if you know, you know. But yeah. We're going to talk about the map today, because as far as real Lorebeards focus is concerned, we haven't really sat down and done this yet. And we are now at the end of the map for all of the factions, of course, minus the upcoming ones. But gotta say, I'm pretty in love, dude. I am pretty in love.
I only have like a few concerns about some things, but generally I'm like, this is going to be a fun fucking campaign. Like I've already said, like this. I think my first ever campaign, I'm just gonna try and paint the map because like, holy shit!
As who
right?
though? As who?
Well, possibly Sigvald, or if the rumors are true, but we'll discuss that another time. Someone else. But like
okay, so a Slanesh character. We'll leave it there.
yeah. But like just imagine how fucking long it's gonna take to paint the map.
Yeah. Where's Albion? It's right here, dude. It's up here. Over between Norska and Bretonia-ish. Yeah, painting this map, dude, that's gonna take such a long time. Like, it's gonna be fun, but at the same time, it's like, oh Jesus. It's gonna be such a long time.
It's just one of those things that you're just looking at it like, God, this would look great in pink. But like in general, let's be honest, I don't think any of us, when they first announced Warhammer 1, I don't think any of us could have thought, yeah, we're gonna get as close to the full world as possible. You never know for the future.
No, never.
This is a massive fucking undertaking.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a culmination of so many years of effort and a lot of community pressure. And like people thankfully fall in love with the series and it becoming very popular. And for those asking, yeah, so the sea lanes, if you see a boat, whatever color the boat is, if you go to that boat, it'll drop you off at whatever the other color, the same color on the other side of the world or the other location. So there are 4 sea lanes that kind of allow you to hop, skip, leap around a little bit.
Yeah, it's quite good because like they even did throwbacks even with the sea lanes because like they even added in the Dark Elf Undersea, you know, like
yeah,
you don't expect people to add that.
I love the Undersea. That because it, you know, Western Nagaroth has always kind of been a funky thing because it's the boiling sea, right? And the whole thing about the boiling sea is that nobody could sail it except for the Black Arcs. Because it's a boiling sea. It's very, very dangerous and it's full of monsters and stuff. So having the Underworld Sea added to allow you to just not need it because it's like, oh, okay, so the Dark Elves now can get to the Far East. Because this is exactly how they would do it in fantasy lore as well, is they take the Underworld Sea to pop out on the western side of Nagaroth, and then they would just sail, you know, west until they arrive in Cathay. So the fact that you can actually do that, because like there's a sea lane right next to where you pop out from the Underworld Sea is just so badass. I love it.
Yeah, I mean this it's so big. I'll be honest with you, when I first saw Warhammer 1 and then we saw Warhammer 2, I thought maybe they're just going to cut it for like we'd get as much of the world as possible, but they were going to cut it by the Mountains of Morn, so we wouldn't see Cathay and stuff like that. Which there's reason to believe that, because former CA staff have once said, like, originally when they were planning Warhammer 3, they weren't even thinking about doing Cathay. So, like, it's to see how much of the world that we have right now, it's like, God fucking damn, I love this. You know?
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember talking to some devs around right after Warhammer 2 came out, and some of the older devs there that are no longer there talked about things like oh, you know, we're probably never going to be able to get, we're probably not going to ever see like the entirety of Lustria and the Southlands. You know, we're just gonna kind of roll with what we have, and you know, we'll go further east, but you know, we're not gonna go south. And then you look at this and you're like, I'm so glad they were wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's so nice to have every single continent.
Yeah, it's so cool. Obviously, we're missing a little bit. We're missing a little bit.
Hey man.
Map expansions can happen.
The Warhammer 2 map expanded a long way east,
Yeah.
and I see no reason it can't continue to do so.
I get into that argument a lot with people because like people I talk about it in speculation and stuff, and they go, the map didn't expand. It's like, yes, it fucking did. The game's like 5 years old, motherfucker. Like, how long have you been playing? It's expanded.
Yeah, it did, like, I don't even know what to add to that because it very obviously did.
Yeah.
there
And people like to throw insults at that. It's like, no, the map did expand.
Yeah, it's like, how about you cool your shorts there, pal? Because like it's
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I don't really have much to add to that because it's just dumb. Yeah. That's so stupid. All right, so let's spend a minute on criticisms. So what looking at the map are some of the issues that you have? What issues, if any, do you have so far with Immortal Empires looking at the map?
Well, it's not so much the map. I think the map is okay. Like everything is where it should be. The scaling to where it should be and all that, because like obviously we saw in Realms of Chaos, Talabecland was a lot smaller, and I was a little worried.
Yeah.
Because it has to be as low friendly as possible.
The Realm of Chaos map is hilariously bizarre. But anyway, moving on.
My concern is mostly Kogath, mostly because like I've said previously, there seems to be an issue in Mortal Empires, hopefully it's been fixed for Immortal, where factions on islands don't tend to go out too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's an AI issue only, but like I would love to see Kogath becoming a threat to, if you're playing as, say, for example, obviously Dragon Boy or Helm Ghost, or eventually as the Chaos Dwarves. It would be nice to have a Nurgle presence hitting you, from the south.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Hopefully they've like we know they've been working very 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 hard on improving the AI for Immortal Empires, and Kugat definitely like hopefully the AI is just able to be aggressive but also stalwart, I guess. If you're playing in those general ballparks, you have a chance to really meet or go up against a lot of those characters, which is ideal. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. Like I really hope that Nurgle has kind of figured out how to be an aggressive naval force, because in fantasy it's such a classic thing that if there was a chaos force that was going to have a fleet, it was usually Nurgle. The plague fleets were notorious. So just the idea of like you're playing as Khalida or Krokgar, and all of a sudden you've got like Nurgle ships showing up on your shores and attacking just sounds so fun.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of the community, and funny enough, someone just commented in my chat, the Eliphanar situation, which is admittedly a little bit strange.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, but they have posted on Twitter that they have heard all the complaints, and although they won't be able to do it for the initial beta release, they're already looking into moving Eliphanar.
Yeah, I mean, it's we know because they did an interview early on in Warhammer 3. I think it was when we had access to when we were doing the promotion for the launch on February. That they said that they'd made it easier for modders and so on to be able to move characters around. So they obviously have those tools too. So we shouldn't be too worried if people feel like certain areas are just a bit weird for locations. Just
they said
make
that
your
last
voices
week.
heard.
Yeah, they reconfirmed that last week in one of their rally point Q&As. They said that they have revamped the technology to move characters, so it's much easier for them to do that now than it used to be.
Oh, you see, that should help out quite a bit.
Yeah, which
keep in mind.
Oh, go ahead.
Hmm?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, you go ahead.
What I was gonna say is that for me, honestly, I think in code, what they were saying right there is they said, we're not doing any more of those stupid flyovers where the narrator talks a lot and shows you everything around you. And is like, you should do this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And then like the camera finally zooms in on your character and you start the campaign. I bet that's going to be completely gone. It's probably just going to zoom right on your character, and the narrator's going to say like one line, like, go forth, mighty Kugath and plague. and you start, and that's their fix, is that they got rid of all the camera shit so they can just move somebody and it's not a big
Yeah.
deal anymore.
Yeah, and it'll be very helpful because the thing is, like right now, like they put that character there because it made sense to them. And keep in mind that they probably have they do have a lot of DLC planned. They already said they're already thinking about number 100. So like they're just trying to see what makes sense now because they probably already thinking, well, maybe if we add Paco, where will Paco go and stuff like that.
Who?
I just gave a random name.
Who the fuck is Paco?
It's a Spanish name.
Is that a new Lizardman character?
But like the idea of that, they've already got plans, so they're probably already thinking, okay, we'll put a Lithanar here because this one will go there, and so on and so forth. It's just how it works.
Yeah,
I mean, we've waited 5 years for Tretch to be home.
Yeah, I will say, I just don't understand how someone was like, what if we put a Lithanar in a major Dark Elf city that 2 other legendary lords already have a quest to confederate as part of their campaign, and nobody went, no, let's not. Like, how did nobody go, no, that sounds like a bad idea?
From a gameplay perspective, not the location, but just the general area, I like a Lithanar being so entrenched in Dark Elf lands.
Oh yeah, just move him to the left.
Yeah.
Just put him in the Granite Hills. Like,
yeah,
he literally needs to move just whatever the major settlement is in the Granite Hills, just go there. It will change.
He's got good locations.
Yeah, it's just weird starting like a major character in a major city of their most hated rival faction.
Yeah.
Like, like if they're like, oh yes, Skarsnik is now in Karazakarak. It's like, what?
It's an odd thing, but I like the idea. Someone says put him back in his original start pose. Well, we can't really because obviously Lady Diaphyn is there, and it kind of works really well to have Lady Diaphyn up there because that kind of spreads out the Vampire Coast Lords a little bit more, I feel like that's good.
Yeah, they could put him in Arnheim, but Arnheim's kind of far away from the rest of the Dark Elves.
Yeah.
Like, I do like him being that far north. Personally. Like, Arnheim would definitely, I think, be like the most lore appropriate place for him to begin. But like, honestly, just throw him in the Granite Hills and be done.
Take the ghost whale out of there. You really do not like Diaphyn, do you?
Don't be mean to Madame Solostra Deerfan.
I honestly quite like her. I think she's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, Solostra, like, as Warhammer Fantasy continues to expand, fun fact, I don't know if you heard about this, but Solostra is in Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's officially canon.
Yep, she got confirmed in the newest book, so she is full on canon.
Mm-hmm.
She's not though. Fun fact: she's not dead yet. She's still alive in the newest book.
It's going to be quite interesting once we start seeing what overlap we start getting, especially as we get closer and closer to a certain setting that we've all been waiting for.
Yep,
it's going to be great. I can't wait.
Okay.
But like, it's good that they made a canon.
Yeah. So Elithar's start position is a little funky. Anything else? Anything else really catch your grub?
I don't know. To be honest, and I know it's going to be like this eventually, but for every single continent. But the Southlands is busy.
Yeah, I think it's good though, and because honestly, we're gonna have to start getting used to it. That's gonna be the whole world at some point. So like, it had to start somewhere. I do find it hilarious that it almost kind of feels like the devs are like, oh man, everyone really hates the Lustria Super Bowl, so let's just do the Southlands. Like, they literally just moved it to discount Lustria.
It's just a bit like, for example, I like Manfred down there, but I don't know. Same thing with Forek. I think Forek would have done really well with his either Vortex campaign inside Lustria to add for a little bit of change,
Yeah, I could definitely see it. I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things where it's like I'm not too worried about like how busy a place is, as long as it makes sense for the character to be there. Just because like I think the amount of places where we go, oh well, that looks a little empty, is going to be coming to an end relatively quick.
Yeah.
I see people in chat being like, oh, the Darklands is pretty empty. It's like, well, yeah, there's probably going to be like at least 3 Chaos Dwarf characters there.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a reoccurring conversation, and I get that a lot. Like for example, I'll post something and they'll go, Chaos Dwarves were, and it's like, we know because they've been confirmed. They were confirmed. And it's like, we just have to wait, guys.
Yeah, can you not read
please.
loading screens, bro?
Well, not only that, but some devs outright confirmed it. Like there was the interview with Andy Hall and some Russian magazine. He said they're coming eventually. Like we knew they were coming because Chaos Dwarves are way too big of a money to say no to, right?
Yeah,
but they'll come. They'll come.
Yep. Yeah, they're just edging right now. Just give them a minute. They're dwarfs. They take a while. They're very patient. And parts of them turned to stone, anyway, but like I'm excited for some of the places that are kind of like suspiciously empty, like Lustria. The Empire is pleasantly empty. Like there's some space for some really cool shit to go down in the Empire. Like you could put someone in Midland, you could put someone in like Talabecland or Aberland. Like obviously there's
the Moot.
The Moot. There's probably gonna be someone in the Middle Mountains very, very soon. But like I'm looking at like that northern shoreline for Northern Ostland, being like, we could put the Forest of Shadows there. That'd be pretty cool. Like Norska, suspiciously empty in the center. The Chaos Wastes are practically empty. Like very, very few characters in the Chaos Wastes right now.
Suspiciously so, yeah.
Yeah. And like poor Grimgor was all by himself until at the buzzer, Kolek Suneater finally slipped in the door. But man, just things are starting to look real exciting.
Yeah. You know what I'm a really big fan of? The fact that Kazrak is now back where he should be.
Oh yeah, thank God, dude. Same thing for Morgar. Same thing for Morgar.
Yeah. It's just so it's so nice that they've started listening, especially like I know a lot of people aren't big fans of fucking Tretch, but like I like Tretch and I like that he's there. Now if they could just give him a rework to make him more like his tabletop variant, it'd be golden. Yeah,
Tretch has definitely earned a place in my heart. But every character in this has, like, I even like Gorst as much as I like to meme on him and dunk on him. Like I have come to appreciate him, even though I will always be moderately irritated at him for stealing Dieter Hellschnidt's spot. But I will say that like I'm really thrilled that they finally kind of went back and fixed the Grim in the Grave, where they're like, oh, let's make a Sigmar's Blood campaign, and then they just didn't, but now they have, where it's literally Volkmar versus Manfred over Nagash goodies. It's literally Sigmar's Blood, and it's awesome.
Yeah. It's a thing that people get a little bit annoyed at certain Lord movements. It's like, no, this makes sense. It's the same thing with Alberic, and I've said this before. It's literally just a throwback to 5th edition.
Yeah, plus that is such a good move. Come on, guy. Like Alberic was so boring. Like it was so boring. And there's probably gonna be a new Confederation tech, and he's probably gonna, and all the Bretonnian characters, their Confederation techs are in different orders. Because it's based on how close you are to them. So Alberic is gonna have Aquitaine like immediately. So if you wanna confederate Bordello back under your control, if you're playing Alberic, you'll be able to do that super fast. But like him being in Brigand is it's so fucking cool. It's so much better.
I just hope that he gets like access to shipbuilding, because he is the naval Bretonnian faction.
Yeah, and they also need to bring in his voice actor to record like everything instead of just like a couple things.
Yeah.
Because fun fact, he does have a voice actor. He just doesn't have that many lines.
Yeah. It's a shame because like he's cool. I know a lot of people because yeah, he's generic. Let's be honest, he is. Like he only what was it last year or the year before that where they gave him the trident?
Uh, it was at some point in Warhammer 2's development, so it was probably like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
But yeah, hey, that was a hard fought win for the community. Okay,
yeah.
getting that damn trident.
It's like he's a cool character, but I know a lot of people like, oh, because of this. It's like, look, if you look at every other Bretonian character that had the miniature, they all kind of look the same. They do.
Yeah. Oh man, dude, I would literally sell like one of my nuts at this point. I really wish that Bretonian paladins and lords had the ability that when you put them on a horse, they get a lance instead of them all having
Yes.
swords.
Yeah.
It's so like I understand they're like, oh well, we want to allow them to be on foot. It's like, yeah, but then I don't get lances, and like
Mm,
it feels weird
it
that
does. It freaking
everybody
does.
has a sword. Um, but he has a generic Brett Lord face. You never see his face. The only time you see Albric's face is in the damn like intro movie.
Yeah.
You never see his face outside of that. Just spice up his helmet a bit more. But like I don't think anyone else has his helmet in the game.
Mm.
Um
Someone's asking here. Rich did mention Bohemond, if I recall correctly. Yeah, he did in a stream, and it wasn't really like something that like it's confirmed. It's like what he got asked in that stream was if he could see a character that he'd really like, and he'd said that because that was his favorite Bretonian. It's like, yeah, fair, like he's pushing for it. Maybe. I mean, we did see that there is Bohemond concept art for his weapon, for his special lance in the art book.
yes, that is true. I mean I wouldn't be against Bahamon the Beast Slayer.
Mm,
Personally, I would prefer Bertrand the Brigand just because he would be very, very different.
mm.
But like a lot of people want Bahamund, and it would give us a really sexy Lance character, which I would not say no to.
Yeah, like I'm pretty chill. I can't remember his name at the moment because I was just actually, funny enough, sticking him into a Deathall bath. Who's the character, the Bretonian with the He's riding on the black. The armor colors are black and white, and he's got like the flail instead of a lance.
Oh shit.
Oh
Oh
god.
god, it's not. Is it Theodric?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
Theodric. Yeah,
It's fucking cool, man. Like I love that miniature.
yeah. Man, I would. Yeah, I would definitely like more spicy variety among
Mm.
our Maldred. Maldred. You mean Malobad, or do you mean Maldred? I would
A
prefer
lot,
Malobad over Maldred.
a lot of people have been asking for Malobad, which is possible. You never know.
Yeah, that would be I would be like that would be the one piece of Bretonian content that they'd be like, okay, we're gonna charge you money this time, and I'd be like, please.
Yeah.
But okay, so of the characters from the prior games who moved, which is your favorite? What's your favorite move?
Um. Whew. I don't know. I kind of like Teclis not being in Austria.
But do you like him
It
being in the Southlands?
it could be interesting. It could be interesting. I think having Teclis fighting directly against Kairos is going to be quite fun for a very early fuckery.
I do love that. Like having the two big bad wizards go up against each other very quickly that's pretty fun.
Yeah. And obviously, moving the Death Master into Cafe is going to be very interesting to play.
Yes. And finally, we
Is
know where Clan Eshin has maybe some bases in the lore, which
Mhm.
is really exciting.
Yeah, like I'm honestly, I'm looking at this. Like my big thing was obviously Tretch. That was the only thing that I really called out for a lot in videos, because like I like Clan Rictus, and like people might not know because he's a joke in Total War, but like Rictus and Tretch, like a proper Rictus army on the tabletop was actually pretty decent.
Yeah, and scary. Yeah. Storm
Mhm.
vermin were nasty in tabletop if
Plus
used if
the
used properly.
bonuses to flanking, the bonuses to flanking were just incredible.
Yeah, I'm really glad he's home as well, because like he's got some cool buffs to Storm Vermin, but once you get that Clan Rictus unique building, I think anybody can build it, but there's a landmark building in addition to like the Clan Rictus headquarters, but there's a landmark building that gives you like super storm vermin. That building is fucking great. And the fact that he's going to have access to that immediately is going to be so nice for a storm vermin focused character.
Yeah. I mean, generally you've got you've got so much that you could work with here. I'm really happy. I'm a little confused with some, but like I think the world is just looking amazing. Like I look at this map often and I'm like, oh, I just want to play.
Yeah.
So badly.
Yeah, the wait is pretty torturous. I think for me, I have a similar Tretch one to you where it's like it wasn't a big deal, but to me it was a big deal. And for me it was actually Tehinuin. Getting Tehinuin out of Slonhapek and back down to the Night Forest was so made me so happy. I hated him being in Slonhapek because it was too crowded. Like it was like I always despised that Tehinuin just took over some random ass lizardman city that he just doesn't have a connection to. You know, it's like it would have been one thing if he had gone somewhere where he at least has a relationship with the settlement. Like, you know, they're like, yes, we have this weird settlement near Mazdamundi. That's that's like a little way south of them. That's like it's like the Temple of Sotek or the Shrine of Sotek. Could have gone there. They said no. Oh, he could have gone on the western shore. They said no. Okay, he could have gone to like one of the cities he actually is like originally from. They're like, no. And they just Slonhapek was just weird. For me personally, I just didn't like it. So I'm really, really happy that he's somewhere where he like has space to himself and he can just focus on murdering Skaven.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that maybe a lot of people don't notice it. Like the grand majority of the player base won't notice it. I think you and I and a few others from a more lore aspect and getting used to tabletop campaigns and so on, we're like, this doesn't work for this character here, you know?
Yeah. But there are also some that are just like blowing my mind with how fucking cool they are. Like both Boris Ursus and Oxiodal, hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense where Oxiodal is because his campaign mechanics make him fuck off for a while, doesn't it? So going into an area where it's just mostly minor factions, at least for now, is going to make his campaign a little bit easier to manage.
Oh yeah, well, and it's just like it's like he can literally go anywhere. So like, if you're gonna put someone in the fucking boonies, it's Oxiodal.
Yeah,
and Boris is deceptively close to Kislev. He's if he jumps into the ocean immediately, he's like right there. You're a coward if you do that, but it's there. You can always fall back home if you need to.
I just can't wait to see how this progresses with DLC and stuff. I just can't wait. Like I said last week, I don't want to see the map. I want to see so many icons that we just don't see the map anymore.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, based on the size of the faction fonts they were using, that will definitely happen at some point.
Yeah.
It won't even take that many more characters. But I
mean, we've got 14 more lords that we're eventually going to see because they're already thinking about number 100.
Yes, we know for a fact they have started working on who they want number 100 to be, as far as like deciding who's going to take such a major celebration position. And yes, so yeah, we're looking at a lot of characters.
I can't wait. I mean, it's likely. I mean, we've got 86 now. That was from their own official post. Then what? 4 Chaos Dwarfs. I'm thinking 4 Chaos Dwarfs.
That
sounds
seems
fair.
very likely. Yep.
Yeah. And then obviously Lord packs here and there. That's extra 2 if they keep going with that format. It's going to be a while. We're going to have a lot of stuff, man. It's going to be good.
Yeah. It's going to be spicy. Like just looking at the possible campaigns, it's like Grombrindal and Nagaroth is going to be so fun. Nakari and Ulthuan looks like a blast. You can just literally play Malice Darkblade's books, which is going to be super fun. Nakai actually is doing something interesting. Good. What a good boy. Lokir Fellheart's raiding the East. Like, there's just so much fun, dude. It just looks fun.
It's definitely got a shit ton of potential. I just can't wait until we start seeing, because there's obviously some movement which makes me question stuff. Like for example, Grimgore getting moved makes sense lore friendly because eventually the Chaos Dwarves are going to be there. It's going to be an amazing campaign just to fight the Chaos Dwarves directly. But he's been moved now from quite a nice place. Do you think maybe we see a certain orc that originally had that
Oh,
there?
yeah, dude, please God, give me the rot gut. Give me those rotten guts.
Yeah.
Just give me the Squatter King. I need him.
It's just all that makes sense
That
because
would be
it looks like a really curious move.
yeah, dude, just a tanky ass orc legendary lord who his only function is to be an unkillable tank. Just sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Just a big fucking shield. He's got his he's got his goofy ass helmet. Just I love Gorfang. I love Gorfang. He's so fun. I don't think many people there's not a lot of stories about him, but there are two short stories, or there's a short story and a novella that feature him very heavily. Actually no, he's in the Queek Headtaker novel. Then he shows up in the Thorgrim novella, and then he also has his own short story which is called the King of Blackcrag, and he's so fun. He's such a fun character. Yeah, the Troll Eater. Dude literally eats trolls for breakfast. Come on.
There's just so much potential to bring in like so many characters, and we want to see it. We want to see as many of them as possible because, well, not only and obviously, not only is it good for business for us because it keeps us keeping making content, but as fans of the series for a long, long time, we want to see as much as possible because it's literally what we've been asking for this type of game for years.
Yep. It's crazy that we're kind of finally here.
Yeah, it's weird. Very surreal.
It is very weird. But yeah, I'm excited.
Mm.
All right. Next thing on the agenda is who would win? Good. I can finally do this and people can stop asking about it. It'll be delightful. All right.
1 second, I need to get some more water because it's ungodly hot.
Yeah, dude, go get some water. And then it's who would win time. How y'all doing, chat? Everybody hanging in there okay? Make sure y'all are drinking water. Stay hydrated. Stay hydrated out there. We got a fun matchup for y'all today. It's one I saw suggested in my Who Would Win Arena Discord channel, because I go in there and I look for matchups. So if you're like, man, I would love my matchup to be picked for a Who Would Win on Lorebeards, that's where you put it. It's not a good day. It's too hot. Yeah, I feel that. How's my Sunday going? I'm all right. I'm a little tired. I didn't get much sleep last night. Is there any hope for Dakala? Yes, I would say that you are still practically guaranteed to get Dakala at some point.
I mean, have factions in game,
Yeah, and just listen, guys. Like, remember, like, we got a long future for this game. You're gonna just have to be patient for certain things. Like, just because your character isn't making it in right now doesn't mean you're never gonna see them.
Yeah.
And Dakala is very high up, I think, on potential lists. And hey, because yeah, Slaanesh fans, y'all do have an unfair advantage because y'all got that +1 with Sigvald, so y'all are one ahead of all the other gods.
Just need one more mortal Slaaneshi Lord, and I've got my dream.
Nathan doesn't have legs. He doesn't need legs. He can walk on his massive balls because of how like just crazy awesome he is. All right. So for today's Who Would Win, we have an interesting showdown. We have two characters who never met. Granted, one of these characters never really had to meet anybody because she's from a different game. But we've got the Norska hating Aranessa Saltspite, the captain of the Swordfish, versus the eternal challenger Wolfric the Wanderer. So as a quick refresher for anyone that's maybe not terribly familiar with these characters, in one corner we have Aranessa Saltspite, a mutant who was born to a tribe in Norska that weirdly did not take nicely to mutants for some bizarre ass reason. And despite the fact that she had been marked by a god they said, yeah, well, she doesn't look like she was marked by one of our gods. And so the chief of the tribe very cruelly disowned his daughter, and they threw her into the sea. But it turns out that she was marked by a god, and that god was not interested in her dying. So she, because she had a mermaid tail as her mutation, along with scales and webbed fingers and stuff, she ultimately, because she was born a mermaid, and she was taken in by sea naiads or sea nymphs, and these water spirits took her to a secret isle, and they raised her, and they fed her on the bounty of the sea, and they nursed her with divine stuff, and she fully evolved into being Manon's daughter. But despite the fact that she lived somewhere safe, and she learned to be a master of the ocean, and she learned how to wield a trident with insane effectiveness, learning from the master himself, Big Daddy, good old Manon, she decided she wanted to be in the lands of men. She did not want to remain in the lands of she wanted to stay out of she didn't want to stay out forever. She wanted to explore the world, live with man, see the world, get out there, be the Little Mermaid, but way more hardcore. And realizing that she could not do so with her legs the way she bit down on something, took a knife and carved her legs at where they fused together to make her mermaid tail. She chopped them off and didn't make a sound because she's that badass. She didn't even grunt. Like, there's literally a specific note. She didn't make a sound. She chops her own legs off and uses some swordfish that she it's a specific species of swordfish, but she caught these really nasty fish, and she literally implanted their sword spear things into her legs to give her stumpies and let her walk. And then she got on a boat and rowed out, and Manon was like, "Go forth, my child, and kick ass." And she made her way out into the world, and she's made quite a name for herself as one of the big bad pirate captains, especially around Sartosa, where she likes to hang out and is very well known. She took over eventually as the captain of the Swordfish, where she was a crew member there for a long time, and eventually worked her way up to captain. She's notorious for having one of the most foul mouths seen on the seas. In the novel, there's actually a funny note about her swearing being particularly like even sailors take psychic damage from listening to her talk. And she was also notorious for being a very dangerous but exotic lover. Fun fact, she even slept with Captain Jaeger Roth, which had an interesting relationship between the two of them. And she also has an ogre first mate, and is known to have ogres on her crew because she can handle them, because she doesn't take shit from nobody. And for magic items, she's actually very simple. She's got the Kraken's Bane. We don't know a ton of history about the Kraken's Bane. We just know that it's a terrifying trident that apparently has elements, either blessing-wise or physically-wise, carries the spirit or components of a literal kraken within it, likely physical components. And krakens are the big bad of the Warhammer Oceans, next to the likes of like the Black Leviathan and other such big monstrosities. And of course, she's known for using a net sometimes that she throws at people to entangle them. She's very skilled with her spear. She's a very agile fighter. And yeah. In the other corner, weighing significantly more, because he wears lots of armor, we've got Wulfric the Wanderer, the Eternal Challenger. A man who literally screwed himself over because he drank too much. He is a public service announcement for don't get too wasted, because you might say something you'll regret for eternity. Because Wulfric was already a big badass of the... What tribe was he? Was he a Sarl?
Think so.
I want to say he was... Yeah, I want to say he was a Sarl. But he's a native Norscan. And he was already a big badass in his own right. He had a impressive ship. He did lots of cool raiding, and eventually he got uber duper famous because he managed to strike down and kill King Torgald, which King Torgald was a man who desired to be king of all Norska. And that happens sometimes. There are jarls and rulers in Norska, but every once in a while there will be some asshole who thinks he could be king or high king and tries to take over. And eventually what will end up happening to them is they will piss off all the other Norskins because they're like, nah. And King Torgald was one of these individuals, and Wulfric was ultimately the one who rose against him and struck him down and took his sword, which Total War Warhammer upgraded to being a magic weapon, which makes sense because, you know, he probably had a nasty weapon being a chaos worshipping big bad king of the Norskins. And however, after that legendary victory, Wulfric got super wasted in the victory hall, and he got so drunk and was so high on his victory that he boasted out loud, I am the greatest there is. I could literally defeat any challenger. No one could best me. And the Dark Gods were like, bet? Bet? So they cursed him, and they cursed Wulfric that he can never rest, and he must eternally wander the world seeking out worthy challengers to prove that he is indeed the greatest there is, the biggest, baddest warrior. And to aid him in this task, the Dark Gods gave him the gift of tongues, which allows him to speak any language as if he was a native, and he literally just uses it to craft perfect insults that have all the cultural relevance, that as if he had lived there his entire life, and makes just the ugliest in-your-face your mama challenges that you could imagine to make people get really pissed off and come agree to his fights. And of course he has his legendary ship Seafang, which allows him to sail through the realm of chaos instead of through the oceans like a pleb. And it's super nasty and has a big crew and stuff. And while it would be tempting to allow this who would win to include a ship fight, frankly the Swordfish is a little bit of a higher caliber than the Seafang. Yeah. The Seafang has much better maneuverability and stuff, but the Swordfish is like a Titan. It's just too big. So anyway, Nathan, what are your thoughts?
Well, both the characters are quite cool, in all honesty. Both of them are very strong in their own right. A quick note to those who haven't just yet. If you haven't read the Wulfric book, you should, because it's probably one of the best books that Black Library have ever released.
Definitely the best novel that oh gosh, I'm having a brain fart. Was it Nathan? No, it was Josh Reynolds, right?
Yeah, I think it was Josh Reynolds.
Yeah, definitely the best fantasy book Josh Reynolds ever wrote.
Yeah, like it humanizes Chaos Warriors a little bit, which is fucking fantastic.
Oh yeah, pull time.
But
don't forget to run a poll.
Oh yeah.
Slash poll.
Slash poll. Thank you.
Oh yeah, and of course Wulfric wears heavy armor. His armor isn't enchanted, but it is chaos armor, so it's very, very durable and heavy. Doesn't wear a helmet though. And he is of course a big badass fighter and has killed a lot of like really nasty challengers and stuff. He's killed Chaos Dwarf Lords. He's killed Yeti Kings. He's killed Dwarf Lords. He's killed a lot of things.
Ooh.
Anyway, sorry, you were saying, Nathan.
So I'm just getting this sorted.
How did Wulfric die in the end? He challenged Vultan to a fight when Vultan was wielding Galmaraz, which was not very wise.
No, yeah, that's all.
No, he's not gonna have the mammoth because Wulfric being on a mammoth just doesn't make sense. Like I could see Wulfric riding a horse or a chariot, but a mammoth, no. Wulfric likes to be like in the thick of it himself. Him riding a mammoth is very weird to me.
A little bit, yeah.
It's not Teclis on a Phoenix levels of weird, but it's like Cetra on a War Sphinx levels of weird. Like it's not impossible, but I just don't see the character doing that.
So
anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Out of the two, I don't know. Both of them are very competent fighters. We've seen that from the lore. Unfortunately, Aranessa doesn't really have that much, considering that she was only really in Dreadfleet, wasn't she?
Right.
I'd have to go with Wulfric though, because throughout the novel, we do hear that Wulfric gets into a lot of challenging fights. There's the scene with the Yeti up in Norska too. Like the dude can face like a lot of odds. The fucker is strong. Whereas Aranessa, I don't feel like we had a lot, you know?
Yeah,
Of
we do have a decent bit of fighting from Arnessa in the Dreadfleet novel, but
hmm,
it's annoyingly difficult to get a hold of because it had a very limited release due to Dreadfleet's
yeah,
poor sales. But the thing about Arnessa that I really like about, because Arnessa herself is a scary ass fighter.
yeah,
Y'all have seen her fighting style in Total War Warhammer, where she has what I affectionately call the stripper pole dance, which is she's very kind of all over the place, shanking and stabbing, and she goes up. I mean, she goes toe to toe with Count Noctilus once, and like she can hold her own against some pretty scary people. And of course, she's also been all over the world, fought lots of terrifying monsters. But there is something to be said. It's kind of the classic agility versus raw strength and tankiness. Like Wolfric could definitely take a hit better than Arnessa could because he's
yeah,
wearing full chaos armor. And he also, he's got a big shield, so he's good at defending himself. He's got those, the gift of tongues. You can't underestimate that. It's a really clever way to make someone goof up because
yeah,
they get so enraged that they end up making a tactical mistake.
yeah.
And there's also something to be said for, he's also an incredibly gifted swordsman. He's got some really like cool little mutations. They're not obvious, but Wolfric does actually have mutations. He's actually got wolf teeth, and his strength is heavily augmented. But Arnessa, she can't throw a net at him, and despite the fact that he's big and strong, that probably would screw him over for at least a couple seconds. And she is also a trident is a mean ass weapon, especially when it's augmented with some spiky, like literally the most dangerous sea predator in the Warhammer world.
Yeah.
If something's gonna pierce chaos armor, that trident's gonna pierce chaos armor.
I mean, the only real weakness from a lore perspective for Wolfric is it generally his emotions, because the dude almost gets him and his party killed on numerous occasions, but that's
Classic chaos
that's
lord.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's mostly because he got cucked a few times, right? I mean, that's the main basis of the story.
Yeah, Wolfric definitely also has an arrogance problem. Like that
Yeah.
boast he made to the dark gods, that wasn't kind of like a one-off. Like that's definitely a core aspect of his personality.
Mm.
I could definitely see him underestimating Aranessa because he's like, this is just some small woman with peg legs.
Yeah.
And then she ends up being significantly more dangerous. So are you just full team Wolfric? You're sticking with Wolfric?
I'm gonna have to go with my boy. Yeah.
Okay, and I think there's some very solid reasons for that. Dude's got heavy armor. That shield can never discount a shield. He's fought a lot of different kinds of. I mean, dude's fought elves. He's fought chaos dwarves. He's fought dwarves. He's fought demons. He's fought everything under the sun. Personally, I'm gonna go with Arnessa just to be a contrarian because that always makes things more interesting. I do think that Arnessa, I do think he would underestimate her, and that she's kind of one of those characters that she's gonna get the kill very fast. Like he's gonna say something, she's gonna get pissed, but she's gonna throw that net, tangle him up for just long enough that she like vaults herself in the air and then just spear thrust right through the dude's head because he doesn't wear a helmet because he's a goof. But my chat emphatically disagreed with me. 70% of my chat went for Wolfric the Wanderer. Only 30% went with Arness Assault Spite.
My poll disappeared within a minute for some
Nice.
reason, but angry Viking beat angry fish lady.
Okay. Yeah, so that's it for today's Who Would Win. Hope y'all enjoyed that. Just a reminder, if you ever want to recommend Who Would Wins, pop by either message Nathan or myself. I have a channel dedicated for it on my Discord called the Who Would Win Arena, where people argue with each other constantly, but I always look in there for fights. So yeah, Wolfric chat's very firmly in Team Wolfric. All right, so next up on today's agenda, cool. So next we're gonna talk about a rumor. Well, it's not a rumor. It's a I wouldn't call it a leak because it doesn't really say anything. But something very interesting came up, which we have been I'm sure you and I both got messaged a shitload about, which is this. I'll pull it up on screen. So there was a little update article that the man who voices Teclis, I believe, the voice actor for Teclis, Jason something.
He's changed his name a few times.
Oh, has he really?
Yeah.
But he is playing the voice of Prince Aravale, the bearer of the powerful amulet of Sunfire in Total War Warhammer 3. So, Prince Aravale, for anyone who's in the dark, which is probably a lot of people, is a very, very briefly mentioned footnote character in the High Elf Army books. He is the son of Phoenix King Morval, which, he's Aravel, Morval. Phoenix King Morval was the Phoenix King before the last one. So he was 2 Phoenix Kings before Finnabar. So this was a long time ago. We're talking like at least, I believe it was like 1,000+ years.
Something like that.
It's been a hot minute. So he was indeed the bearer of the Amulet of Sunfire, which the Amulet of Sunfire is one of 3 really, really, really powerful artifacts given to the High Elves by the goddess Lilith. So Lilith, aka Ladriel, Lady of Mist, aka the Lady of the Lake, she likes to get involved with things, and to the High Elves, she gifted them 3 god tier powerful artifacts that are literally her own goodies. So these are literally god level artifacts. She gave them the Star Crown, which was shattered thanks to some Dark Elf shenanigans during the Sundering into 5 pieces, which if you've played Warhammer 2, you actually spend the Vortex campaign collecting the 5 pieces of the Star Crown. And it allows you to do some pretty crazy shit at the end of the campaign. The second one was the Moon Staff of Lilith, which is wielded by our boy Teclis, and is so OP that it has literally allowed him to one-shot multiple special characters. And then last is the Amulet of Sunfire, which we have no idea what the hell it did, but for some reason, Morvael was enough of a dipshit to allow his son to have it and take it on a sea voyage. And he did, and then he died in the Gulf of... Oh god, it's directly below the Southlands. Yeah, the Churning Gulf, which is south of the Southlands.
It's interesting enough where Kairos is.
Yeah, it's very similar, very close to where Kairos is. So and he disappeared over 1,000 years ago and was never seen again. So presumably dead. Seems very likely, especially because he was very close to like the Southlands and the Southern Chaos Waste, and there's a lot of nasty shit down there. So what could this mean, Nathan? What are your thoughts?
Right. So I had to look through historic stuff when stuff like this does happen. It's very possible that he did legit record lines for this, because we did have I think it was around 8 months prior to release of the Shadow of the Blades, we did have this happen before, where the voice actor updated his IMDb profile and his website and said, "I voiced Deathmaster Stickage."
Yeah, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
I do think it's legit.
Yeah. Now, it could also be because maybe CA have learned, possibly not, but you never know, this is the first time, that he has voiced a character, but this is a red herring, because if you watch stuff like, say, I don't know, Walking Dead, The Orville, anything, right? People go to casting calls for different characters, but they're actually voicing someone else.
Yeah, they'll give them a fake name.
Yeah. So maybe Sea Lord Aisling?
Yeah, well, and here's what I think. I think it is Sea Lord Aisling, but I do think this is also completely legit, because my thought is that if they were to release Sea Lord Aisling as a legendary lord, he'll probably be in a lord pack. And the thing about lord packs is that they have their own self-contained storylines. That's the established thing. So what I'm thinking this will be is that Sea Lord Aisling is going to go out to find the Amulet of Sunfire before some nefarious bad guy does, because it's so powerful, and that what he recorded, Jason, are voice lines for Prince Aravel, who's going to be like narrating a journal about like what happened to him, where did he go? So like Iceland's going to be following Prince Aravel's clues or whatever happened to him, and that's what the campaign's going to be about. That's what the Lord Pack is about. It's going to be a race to get the Sunfire amulet, amulet of Sunfire, between Iceland and somebody. There's so many potential options.
I think there's a lot there. I mean, imagine we've already got a perfect start for the Sea Lord himself too.
Yeah, the Eastern Isles.
Exactly, they're empty, but they can be colonized. We do know that. That was confirmed by CA.
Yeah, and we know there's a Hyle faction there at the start of the campaign.
So it's like, that could be a great place for a Hyle start. Wonder why the Teclis wasn't moved there. So it's like, yeah, works. Then maybe a Chaos faction in the Southern Wastes, possibly.
Could be. I could definitely see like Dakala the Denied. You know, you get an elf versus cursed elf.
Yeah.
I could see personally, I could see a new Vampire Coast character. I could see a Jade Vampire Coast pirate queen maybe versus Iceland and have another sea themed DLC.
Yeah, it could work. It could honestly work very well. There's so much that could be done, and it's curious because like this happens so often with CA with little leaks and so on. And,
you don't say.
Like, yeah, but like I'm actually legit excited because there's a unit that we've all been wanting for the High Elves, hasn't it? Right? We've all been waiting for the Skycutter. We all have. And now, you know, we have that technology because obviously that the animations or the baseline animations from the Skycutter would be used from that Xenon unit that escapes me right now. The
Burning Chariot.
The Burning Chariot, yeah, because it would be the same, more or less, basic rigging. And it's like, this would be the perfect time. This would be the perfect fucking time. Not now, though, because first, like, let's get this out of the way and then the Chaos Dwarves, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, someone posted a... Yeah, I think I've seen this. It's a faction icon. I'll look into it, and if it ends up being something, we'll talk about it later.
There's a few faction icons that have been out there. Which one's this one? The Chala one, or...
It's the one that looks very Vampire Coasty. It's like, or Vampire County. It's like a. It's like a Cathayan zombie with a sticker on his face.
Yeah, I mean, we are expecting a Jade Vampire in the future. Eventually, we are.
Yeah, and just like there's gonna be Vampire Coast or Vampire Counts or both, or neither. But there's almost assuredly. I mean, Cathay is huge.
Yeah.
It's very, very big. There's going to be a lot of AI factions there, and presumably some of them will be undead.
Yeah, like we're going to have to get, because we know they're established in lore. If you guys go back to the interview that Sotek and I did with Andy Hall, he outright confirmed that the bloodline for the Jade Vampires does exist. So, like, it's only a matter of time. The only one that he didn't confirm, which is funny enough, someone mentioned it, that we are now cited as sources in the Warhammer Fantasy Wiki. The Ind bloodline, which we never really asked about, was never like mentioned.
We did not discuss that with him at all. We did not talk about Matt. We did not talk about Matt Macy's bloodline.
But like
fucking wiki.
The Jade Vampires, our only source, us being sources, is us showing our incompetence.
Yeah, like, but I think all we said was like he went south. Like that's all we know about him. He went south. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
Well, there is a lot. Like we know that the Jade Vampires are a thing. I would love to see a Jade Vampire character in the Vampire Coast. I think that would be kind of cool.
I think it would. Well, and because the Vampire Coast is like it's it's kind of a loose confederation of bloodlines. It'd be nice for them to have like, this is our bloodline. Like, this is, if Vampire Coast were to show up on tabletop, it's like, these are the guys that really embrace Vampire Coastage.
No, definitely. Because like the great thing about vampires, I think, and this is something that's always been really good in Warhammer lore, is that the vampires are incredibly, incredibly varied. And
Mm.
an issue, and this is something that I personally have an issue with Total War, is that we don't get that distinction. I would love to see DLC which would add in bloodlines as factions, right? So we'd
Mm.
get unique looking units, a mini roster, and shit like that. Because it would be great to see each of the vampires given a proper push, you know?
Yeah, well, and for me, that's why the Jade vampires are so exciting, and why I also think Vampire Coast needs them so badly is because we would finally have a drastically different culture to pull undead ideas from.
Exactly.
Like, listen, I love our vampire counts in the West, and there are definitely, like, I could easily right now, off the top of my head, give you like a full Lord's Pack worth of DLC units for the Lamians and the Necrocs. Not
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Like, and like even like for like when you're looking at like blood dragons and Strigoi, there are even
Strigoi, yeah.
yeah, there are still ideas bumping around there too. But like Jade vampires, that's really like that's like a whole new horizon.
Yeah.
Which, because as much as I love the Vampire Coast, they don't really have a future as far as like adding more stuff right now.
Yeah.
They've already had to bastardize some stuff that was originally meant for the Vampire Coast or Vampire Counts, but it turned into a Vampire Coast thing, being the Mournguls, the Necrofex. Like if y'all ever go look up the original Necrofex Colossus, they were just big monsters. Like it was the same design. They didn't have gun hands though. They were just like big melee monsters. And then CA was like, "Oh, we need a big monster. What if we put a gun on it?" And Games Workshop loved it so much that we actually got a Necrofex Colossus in Warhammer Fantasy 4th Edition roleplay. They have gun arms. Like, that's just the way they are now. They just have gun arms. Which I think I have to fight one of those at some point in the campaign I'm in, and I'm scared. But yeah, there's so many exciting things that could be done for Vampire Counts, and they like Vampire Counts. I feel like just need DLCs focused around the bloodlines. But
Yeah.
Vampire Coast, I think giving them a new bloodline is really what cements their future.
Yeah. I mean, the coast is something that I've always been curious about because it's clearly a race which had the 6th edition supplement, which was like what, 10 pages.
If that.
And yeah, if that. And I keep thinking it's like maybe this is a faction that GW didn't really have planned. Because it's one of those things that just there's no army book. Whereas you can see the stark difference between Kislev and Cafe, which do have army books, we just haven't seen them. And we know this, we can already feel this is empty. This is coming as DLC. We're definitely getting this as DLC. Whereas the Vampire Coast, it was like, there you go, done.
Yeah, I mean, they did a great job. I mean, they adapted everything that was in the White Dwarf, because it had a roster. It just wasn't a very big roster. Like they even gave us all the items that were in its magic list and everything.
Oh yeah. For 6th edition, it was great.
Yeah, but like I like Dreadfleet definitely is like what allowed it to blossom. But I mean, you could tell it's in a funky, like it was originally in a funky place because I mean we got Salt Spite as the 4th Lord, which has always been kind of a contentious issue of that a lot of people want her to have more living units because she's a living character. And her gimmick is not very well explored, which is something I hope to see them do in the future. I don't know when we would get an opportunity to do that, but I would love if we ever get like more naval humans somehow, for there to be like, Arnes will get more goodies from that somehow. But,
exactly, yeah.
But I will say, how did we get onto this topic? Oh yeah, we were talking about this. I will say that I am very excited at the potential for High Elf DLC with Iceland. I think he'd be fantastic, and he would represent the aspect of the High Elves that we're still missing, which is the naval aspect. We're still missing our Lothern Skycutters, where we could use Sea Helms.
Merworm units.
Merworms, yes, please God, Merworms. Yeah, like that I would buy the shit out of that. And man, he could fight some super fun people. Jade Vampires, awesome. Dakala the Denied, awesome. Nurgle Plague Fleet under Gutrot Spume. Awesome.
Oh, yes.
Like,
I love Gutrot.
Yeah, there are plenty of baddies on the ocean that would be so fun.
It's there's so much potential for it. Like I look at the world map and I'm thinking, oh man, there's so much DLC potential. I just hope that it's done right and like characters aren't like put into areas which would then kill it off for another character. Like it's just you never know. You never know.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you know, they're like, hey, we can move people easier now, so like they could red herring the shit out of us if they want to. Would not be hard.
You know what I would really like? You know what I'd really like? I can't remember his name. He's a Dreadfeet character. He's a Tomb King.
Oh, King. Oh God, it's like King of Montanip. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but I do know who you're talking about.
King 7 syllables. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine him as a Tomb King character, but with the Vampire Coast mechanics.
Yeah, I could see it.
It'd be fucking fun.
Amonotep.
Amonotep. Yeah.
No, Amonhotep. Okay, there we go. Amonhotep. Okay, yeah. I knew it started with an A. But yeah, I mean, that would be very interesting. Amonhotep the Intolerant. That's such a good name for a Tomb King. I certainly would not be against that.
I feel like CA could just easily reuse some mechanics as long as it fits well.
But here's the thing, though: would you rather have Amonhotep the Intolerant, or would you rather have Scrap or whatever the hell his name, Skrull, Half Dead, the Skaven character?
Ooh.
We could have Undead Skaven.
I would legit want Half Dead, Scratch Half Dead. I would
Scratch,
really like
there we go,
him.
Scratch, yeah.
But like, we do have a lot of Skaven, and we are likely to get one more at the very least. You know,
guaranteed to get one more. They promised us Thankful like 2 years ago.
Yeah, but like that's why like we already have what, 6, 7?
Yeah. A lot of people, you know, if you were gonna do a legendary hero, I still loved the character that I found when I did a legendary hero series on my YouTube channel, which there's a playlist if anyone wants to go watch it, where I recommended legendary heroes for every single race in the game. And I found a character, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it was a Strigoi vampire who took over a ship with his Throatsy. So he has a ship of ghouls, so he's a ghoul captain. I don't think he'd do for a legendary lord, but as a legendary hero he'd be super fun because he would add like lots of fun like ghoul stuff. But I can also
CA did say that they want to do more legendary heroes. They're on record on saying that.
Oh yeah, please God, dude, just do legendary hero packs, CA. Like, yeah, just do a pack that has a bunch of legendary heroes. That's all I need.
I tell you, when they introduced, when they did the, oh my God, DLC names, so many.
Twisted in the Twilight.
Twisted in the Twilight.
I knew where you were going. Yeah, that was
that
the
was
best
implemented
DLC.
Amazing. Yeah, exactly.
It was the best DLC ever made.
Amazing. Like they just did it so well with how you unlock them and everything. I was like, God damn, we need more of this.
Yeah, everybody still jumps down my butthole about the whole Forge of Day thing, but like, still, it was the best DLC. It was the most balanced.
Yeah, like that was
now,
so much.
Now it's such good value. Like if you're ever like, I don't know what Lord pack to buy first, that you should probably get that one first. Yeah. It's very good.
It's just so good. It's done so well.
Yes. Let's. Are you ready to move on to today's last subject?
Yeah.
Okay. So, something that we started a little ways back, that we are heading into now, is that me and Nathan were like, oh yeah, we're like lore people. We should do a lore segment in every Lorebeards episode, you know, because that's kind of what we're known for. So every episode, we're just going to kind of pick a random subject and talk about our favorite aspect of it. We will take recommendations on these, by the way, if you want to like add us on Twitter or do #Lorebeards or something. We'd love to see that. But in any event, today's subject is we're going to talk about our favorite vampiric bloodlines. So, Nathan, who is your favorite vampire bloodline and why?
Well, for me, it
Gotta
has
pick
to be
one.
the Strigoi.
Oh,
It has to be
Strigoi.
the Strigoi. Yeah. So I played a little bit of Vamstring Sixth. And I don't know, it's just something about, when you just feel bad for them, but you can relate to them in a sense? Because the Strigoi are awesome, but
Bro,
they've
did you
always been
did you
treated.
just have to call everybody out in chat like that?
Yeah. But it's just one of those things because like the Strigoi are cool and they are better at thinking than most of the other bloodlines, right? Like a lot of the Strigoi stuff in lore just brings you up to just don't be a dickhead, You can feed on an asshole type of thing, And
They definitely got a raw deal.
yeah, and it's obviously because let's be honest, Yushoran was a little bit of a brat, and obviously Neferata was just not kind to him. Um, but anytime that you hear of Strigoi, either they're going full animal, or some of them just take over little kingdoms and they do their stuff and they live their best life and they actually genuinely care about their subjects. Because you see that with, say, for example, Gashnag, right? Like
Yeah,
he's
Gashtag, the Black Prince. Great character.
Yeah. So like he's a cool character because he's actively protecting his people. Obviously, it's in to serve his best interest too, but he lives like a genuine king, and he's protecting his territory, and he just feeds on criminals and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of cool. Anytime that you hear about any Strigoi, it's just literally that. With same thing with Morkane. Morkane was a prosperous nation.
They emulate Morkane because Ushoran was a dickhead when he lived in Lamia, but honestly, until he put on the Crown of Nagash, which definitely messed him up, in Morkane, he was a good ruler. Like,
Yeah.
he actually did what Lamia wanted to do, but failed because Neferata did not reign in her court. Where, like, Ushoran literally told everyone, okay, you could feed on criminals, orcs, or like people from other nations, but like we do not touch our own. And that was an ironclad law under Ushoran's rulership.
That's literally why I actually really like them because of that. It's like this is a very interesting way to write vampires, not like vampires in general, but vampires in the Warhammer world, where they're all generally bastards.
Yep, and Strigoi are the only genuine bloodline that have very devoted, genuinely worship and miss them human followers, being the Strigani.
Exactly, which is something like I said before, if like we ever get like genuine bloodline DLC, have a Strigoi with the Strigani humans and a few Strigoi units and some ghouls, and there you go, something different, something fun, and something really thematic if you want to play as a good vampire in a sense.
Yeah, come on, Vorag. I'm all in on Vorag. Vorag Bloody Tooth. Yeah, no, and I think that's a very respectable reason to like them, certainly. Plus, I mean, they got some really cool things. Like they're the only guys that can ride a Terrorgeist. That's really cool.
Exactly.
Ghoul Kings are fun. Cryptors are fun. For me, my favorite bloodline, I don't think this is a well-kept secret, but my favorite bloodline is actually the Necrarchs. I love the Necrarchs, even though they are a bunch of absolute fucking nerds that are constantly backstabbing each other. I mean, they're academics. If you've ever been in a high academic circle, you know what it's like. But the Necrarchs, I love them so much because they're constantly pushing the edge of undeath. Like, they're the guys that are pushing what undeath means and what the vampires are capable of. They're inventing new forms of undead. Who, like, invented the first Terrorgeist? The Necrarchs. Who discovered how to create care rates? Necrarchs. Who learned how to bind hex rates to the vampire counts? Necrarchs. Like, they're the inventors and the mad scientists of the vampire counts, and I adore that about them. Like, they're masters of flesh crafting, literally creating Frankensteins and like stitching different creatures together and raising them up and seeing just what happens. And they're also the most big badass sorcerers, and you know they like to hang out in their tower and not go out for hundreds of years, and I relate to that. But and I Zacharias the Everliving is my favorite vampire of all time. Like he's just such a badass that, and I love that he is the perfect encapsulation of work smarter, not harder. Where Abrash went on like this whole pilgrimage and had this big epic fight, one-on-one duel with an Emperor Red Dragon, and like proved that he was like super badass and killed and drank its blood and he cured his vampirism. What did Zacharias do? Zacharias found he was exhausted and he was trying not to die, and he found a quiet place to take a nap, and a Emperor class black dragon showed up, and that was her house, and she fell asleep, and he ate her while she was asleep. And he just used magic to keep her asleep and fed off her till she died. And that's how he cured his vampiric curse. And I'm just like, what an ace. Just like, get owned, Avrash. let me show you the real way to do it. I didn't even have to fight. I love Zacharias. He cracks me up. He absolutely did not earn that achievement, but he got it anyway.
It's the whole Think Smarter, right?
Yeah. Him and literally Zacharias and Abrash are the only two vampires we know of that have cured their curse, and the way they did it was so massively different. It just cracks me up. But in any event, and I like and there's so many cool units we could get through a Necrarch DLC, like Spirit Hosts, Unholy Armor, Patchwork Men.
What's the mount option?
The Dread Abyssals.
Those, yes.
Yes, the big griffin-like creatures that are like, I think it's like wyverns, griffins, and etc. stitched together to make these horrifying. They look like gargoyles. They look like big gargoyles. So
I have one of the minis somewhere.
Yeah, I love that mini. Like it's such a cool looking creature. You could fight them in Warhammer Online, and I always love tracking them down and fighting them. So I did a poll for my chat. You can do one for yours real quick if you'd like. You know, just do like a quick 3-minute poll on their favorite bloodline. My chat went 32% went Blood Dragon, 23% went Lamian, 11% went Strigoi, 13% went Von Karstein, and 11% went Necrarch. I do think Blood Dragon tends to be the most popular in like the general masses. People just love Abrash.
Blood Dragons.
They're very cool.
There's something about them, isn't there? You know.
Well, they're just like the super badass action heroes of the vampire counts.
We did get a lot of lore focus towards them. I think that was kind of what makes them so popular. Because I think once we got to 7th, they dropped the distinctions, didn't they?
7th edition was the last. 7th edition narrowed the character list, and 7th edition started focusing much more Von Karstein. Yes.
Yeah.
I think 7th edition still had the ability to like take bloodlines based on certain kinds of powers based on certain bloodlines, and the 8th edition completely got rid of that. And 8th edition was just like you make your own vampire, but there wasn't like a guideline for how to make a bloodline.
Oh, God damn it. I miss 6 so much.
Yeah, that's why they gave us the Ghoul King character. Was because they were like, oh, well, these guys are different enough that you can't just like make your own, so we'll like release a whole thing for them. But like if you wanted like a Lamian, Blood Dragon, or Necrarch, you just kind of had to like build your character and be like, that's what this is, but there wasn't any kind of like good system for it.
Yeah, there was something so special for 6th. Like, this is my main hope, that when we get to Old World, that we get a little bit more of a 6th edition feel than anything else.
Yeah, my personal favorite edition was 7th, but I think that's just because the books had the most, like those were the biggest books lore wise. But it's because they were literally the 6th edition books, but then they added on what happened after the Storm of Chaos. But like 6th edition, 7th edition, I would agree that 6th, 7th was like, the stories were so good. They were so good.
Gameplay was more balanced because, let's be honest, as much as I love 8th, it was kind of broken.
Yeah, 6 was I like 6th edition. I don't like the magic system as much.
Yeah.
Like 8th edition's magic system was
Much
much
better, yeah.
much harder to abuse than 6th and 7th. Because God, I remember fighting vampire counts in 6, and it was just okay. I'm gonna cast Invocation of the Heck. Oh, okay. They throw 1 die. Okay, I got it. Oh, how many? They're like, how many dispel dice do you have? 7. How many power dice do you have? 21.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cast Invocation of the Heck 21 times. There's just nothing you could do. But yeah.
It was just there was just something so special about it. Like I hope that when we get Old World, it's just a mix of everything. Like get all the best stuff from each of the editions.
What magic system do you want? Do you want to go back to cards, or do you like the more modern system?
I kind of like the more modern systems. In all honesty, I think that the 8th one was decent enough that it was just okay. You could still abuse it a little bit because like vampire counts definitely still abused it.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like
a
it wasn't
little
too
abuse
bad.
is fine.
Yeah, a little bit is okay because it allows for meta listing and all that shit. But if you're playing narrative, you're good. As long as it isn't like, as long as Steadfast doesn't exist again, we're good because that was just too much.
Yeah, a rule that makes cavalry and flanking not matter at all. Please God, no. They definitely need to, if they go with the 8th system, like I hope vortex spells come back. I imagine they will. But they definitely need to make them much more consistent. Because like some of the vortex spells were fine. Like they weren't that big of a deal. Like the Great Maw spell wasn't that big of a deal. The fire spells were fine, but like fuck Purple Sun. Fuck Purple Sun. Fuck Dwellers Below. Like the insta kill spells, no sir. Like I'm totally fine with them making spells that are like, this spell targets a character, and if it goes off, it does D3 wounds that can't be like, ignores ward saves and armor saves. Like, okay, that's fine, you know, a way to kill those super tank characters, but we don't need a fucking single dice roll or you're dead spell. Like that's so dumb.
There was a lot of overpowered magic. I mean, I've seen Purple Sun end the game by turn 2.
Like, I've seen it in games on turn 1.
I haven't had the pleasure of that. I've seen Tomb Kings kill themselves in turn 1.
Hilarious. I will never forget seeing an ogre player lose on turn 1 because a dark elf took a supreme sorceress on a Pegasus, put her on the deployment line, turn 1, moved 20 inches onto the Ogre Kingdom's flank, and then 6 dice an Overcast Purple Sun straight down his battle line, and dead. Instantly dead. It was game over.
Oh my god.
That was nuts. It was over.
I felt that.
Yeah. Nothing he could do. But yeah, like, you know, we've all seen like game 1 or turn 1 games, but it's usually because like, you know, you cast a spell and your Slum Mage Priest miscasts and kills himself. With most of the Temple Guard, I've definitely done that.
That's fucking terrifying. Oh my god. Oh, and I've had it. I miscast once when I was using Skitter Leap on my Gracier to get him the hell away from the fighting, and he got sucked into the wolf.
Was his name Legend? I don't think Legend would actually like tabletop games. I think the dice rolling would drive him insane.
Last time I spoke to him, not last time because we've been speaking recently, but it was during the time of like Warhammer 2. I was telling him, it's like, you would probably love the game because it's so easy to abuse. Like you could make some really disgusting shit.
Oh yeah, but man, like dice, it's such a, I've seen so many people that are like hardcore numbers people, and like they like break games all the time that they play, and they can't stand like Warhammer Fantasy because the dice will just be like, hey, that's a cool strategy you got, but fuck you.
It's always interesting when you see a guy arrive to a tournament with a notepad and a fucking calculator, right?
Yeah, and it's like, that's not going to help you, son. Knowing the odds does nothing. This game. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care what people say. You're like, yes, statistically, I have leadership 10 and reroll because of my battle standard bearer, and you roll 2 12s. Like, you know, it's just, it happens. I had a friend like that. I had a friend who ended up, huge douchebag, but he was he ended up being an architect. Like he did architecture and ended up doing that. I'm assuming he's doing very well for himself these days. But he would always try to play Math Hammer, and he fucking sucked at the game. Like he always got his ass handed to him. Like because like his dice would just be like, that's a cute strategy. Like he'd go for like those epic, like he'd set up these cool, awesome flank charges and just never make the charge roll ever. It was so painful to watch.
Math Hammer it's like it's possible for 40k, where 40k there's so many things, but like not for fantasy. And fantasy was like, you're done with shooting, you're done. There's no rerolls, there's no this, unless you had like a little bit, but that's it.
I see it a lot in AOS now. Math Hammer is very, very popular among like the high tables in AOS, so clearly it's like working. But like, I distinctly recall in fantasy just not just not really being a reliable system.
That's all.
Because like you'd be like, oh, I took this like magic heavy build so that I could really like do all these things, and then you'd be like, okay, I gotta roll for my winds of magic 2. You get 2 power dice, and you're just like, oh fuck. I just spent 1,500 points on wizards and I have no spells. Like fantasy had a level of randomness to it that you just could not counter. Like there was no guarantees in fantasy.
I think that's why I like the game so much.
Oh yeah, me too. Like it was much less prone to abuse. Like, you know, you'd fight a greenskin player and you'd be like, greenskins, I can handle him. And he's like, okay, I gotta roll for animosity, and he rolls like all 6s, so his entire army charges across the table turn 1. You're like, what the fuck? I can't do anything. And other times, like a greenskin player would be winning, and then he starts rolling animosity, rolls all 1s, and his units start attacking each other, and it's great. It's hilarious.
There was the only time we actually did get Math Hammer, I think, was End Times. Specifically, if you're a Chaos player, because you remember Summon the Infernal Legions. That was a bastard of a spell. It was broken as shit because you couldn't dispel that for some reason. It's like, oh yeah, I've come with a massive line of characters, and you think easy, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to summon in 20 bloodletters, 20 bloodletters, 20 bloodletters, and another 20 bloodletters. It's like, you bastard.
Yeah, well, yeah, the End Times were not balanced at all. Like it was like old school Forge World wrote the rules. They were literally just stupid fun. Like in my tournaments I went to, all the summoning spells were banned because they were so unbalanced. Because otherwise someone would show up with Nagash and the Lore of Undeath, and he'd just be like, yeah, I'm gonna summon 2,000 points in one turn. And you're just like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, so
absolutely insane, absolutely fucking insane, because you could overcast it and then get the what's it called? Oh shit me. You could start like getting the really good units in, couldn't you?
You could summon characters.
Oh yeah.
There was a spell you could summon heroes and lords. And it was like, oh yeah, you could summon a character worth X amount of points, but if you overcast, they could be worth even more points. So you could literally give them magic items and shit, and like customize their equipment. It wasn't like, oh, you get a White King on foot. No, you were like, oh, well, I've got 275 points according to this spell, so I'm going to take a vampire, I'm going to give him these powers, and it was just like, did that bitch just summon a Blender Lord for free?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Yeah, it was an interesting time. It was fun. It was just stupid. Like you just couldn't take it to a tournament. Like it would ruin tournaments, but it was fun in like personal play.
I was banned when the last book happened. What was that? Is that the Lord of Chaos one? Was that the last one?
Archaon?
Yeah.
Book 5? Yeah. Book 5 was
so
fucking weird.
When that came out, I was banned from playing my Skaven, because Skaven then got assimilated into Chaos, didn't they?
Yep.
So I had fucking Graciers doing Summon the Infernal Legions.
Yeah, Warhost of the Everchosen, literally every single Chaos faction got combined into one army, and it was so dumb. It was so
imagine
stupid.
Imagine a fucking Gracier summoning in fucking units of Plague Bearers as a front line.
Yeah, it was the most absurd thing in the universe. Like Glotkin was a lot, where it was like you got the demon summoning, Beastmen could take marks again, and you could combine Beastmen, warriors, and demons. It was a lot, but like it was tolerable. And then book 4 shows up and Skaven get fucking Storm Fiends and all the new Thanquol and all the new Vermin Lords. And then book 5 came out and was like, yeah, just throw the new Skaven in there. And everyone was like, what the fuck? Like, how am I supposed to fight this? Yeah, Warhost of the Everchosen was absolute bullshit. It was so unbalanced. But it was fun.
Yeah.
Good times. The end times may have had shit lore, but the rules were genuinely hilarious.
Yeah.
I will give them that much. All right. And that's our show.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone so much for joining us today. We really hope this was we really hope this was fun and you had a good time. I think we're doing, we had a good show. It was over 7 hours, which is 7 hours, 2 hours.
Let's say, fuck.
I was like, whoa. So hopefully you all had a lot of fun. We will be back next week, same time, same place. More to talk about. Hopefully some cool shits from CA. Hopefully they will intentionally reveal some things we can talk about next week. And let's
hope, fingers crossed.
Yeah, let's hope. Anything to add, Nathan? Okay, actually first, anything you got coming up this week? Any big videos you want people to be on the lookout for? Any major streams? Whatever.
Well, hopefully this week, if everything goes according to plan, I will do that 24-hour stream session, which will then turn into a video. So 2,000 points of Nurgle Demons, using a lot of contrast paints, I'll be very honest with you, because I am not going to do it the traditional way.
Yeah, why would you? Contrast paints look great, and they're so, like, you can always add to them later. Like, they're so...
Exactly.
Like, saying that as someone that's never used them, they look so efficient.
So I'm giving myself 24 hours, a full stream, 24 hours. Because I need to get rid of this backlog. I really do. So that's kind of the plan. Hopefully CA will keep consistent with news drops, and we'll just keep with that, because I think that would be kind of cool. And you never know, still hoping blue balled as hell that we'll get some info on Old World, because it's been a while.
It has. Like, I've been waiting for them to kind of show off. It feels like it should be happening any day now.
It's like 6 months, hasn't it been, since the last drop?
Yeah, something like that. Like
it's been a long time. I don't know why it's taking them so long. It's really weird.
Yeah, neither do I. But hopefully we'll get something soon.
Man, let's hope. Fucking hell, because like I'm still excited, but like I want to know something. I just want to know stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so keep an eye out for that 24-hour paint stream. I'm sure that will be loony, so y'all will want to, I would encourage people to check that out. Obviously there's just so much shit going on with Total War right now. The embargo for battles dropped, so there's been lots of battle footage coming out. I know I've been doing a terrible job.
I haven't really done battles.
I'm just like, give me the campaign, bitch. Just give me the campaign.
Yeah.
But there will be stuff happening this week, and keep an eye on our channels, and make sure you're following us here on Twitch and are subbed over on YouTube so you don't miss any.
And OnlyFans.
Yep, totally. Yeah, we'll soon be releasing the Nakari versus the Twins video over there. But anyway, we should probably get out of here.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you, everyone.